Welcome back, folks, to the SMITE 2 Founders Series. We've had a lot of Swiss over the last 5 weeks, but this is it. The very last round, the last match of Swiss is about to get underway. Garf's Goblins versus Look Within. It's Jorby, Trelly, and Doug on the sticks in the back. Trelly, we had a little break after a quick little 2-0 from Borscht, though. We are back. Let's go ahead and take a look at that NA bracket one last time to see how things have gone. Oh, I'm sorry. I might have got a little ahead of myself. Let me ask you first, Trelly. How you doing? How's the break? You enjoy the last match? You ready for this?
I've done fantastically. I mean, I love watching SMITE 2. I love playing SMITE 2. I just wish there was a way the chat knew how they could do the same, Jorby.
Oh, you're right. There is a certain way they can. By typing an exclamation point access. You don't even have to get out your wallet. You just have to click a link. You know how to do that. You just have to type in a code. Do you know how to type? I sure think you do. All right, SMITE 2 esports. There you go. You click the link. It'll come up with a little prompt. Type in the code. And what is that code? Right there on your screen. SMITE 2 esports to get a key, get into the SMITE 2 alpha. It's in a great state right now and will only be getting better over time. So make sure you get over there and you get in the game. And who knows, if you like it, you could also maybe pick up a founders pack in which you'll get all the gods forever because they're being added to the game at a quick clip. But we are about to add another match to the schedule, the last match on the schedule. And now, Trelly, we will talk about Garf's Goblins versus Look Within. The last two here in round 5. And both of these teams actually having lost every single match to teams that have already qualified for the playoffs. Let's take a look at that bracket really quick. See, Garf's Goblins, they ended up dropping to the likes of Secret Service and Name in Progress. And then you also had a loss to Scrumptious. Just a lot of teams that, Scrumptious, one of the better teams here in NA. But has any result surprised you so far with everything you've seen so far?
I mean, not so much. The fact that Scrumptious even fell into this bracket was a bit of a shock. But honestly, Food Drive for Globe put up a great fight. They qualified about as quick as you would have expected. They weren't going to be able to take down Team Name, but with 5 M's, but brought them to 3. Regardless, though, Garf's Goblins and Look Within both were teams that I said could be teams to watch for sure at the start of this section. And now getting to finish everything off, this section of Swiss with them is going to be an absolute banger. But as you mentioned, only one is allowed to go right to playoffs. The other one is going to have to drop into the LCQ. So a lot on the line here. And remember, you do just want to qualify. You want to wipe your hands with it and say, you know what, we can just focus on scrims, focus on learning the meta, focus on watching all these other teams, how they decide to play. But you got to perform here. You got to get that dub.
Absolutely. This is it for you to get into the playoffs. We will be moving over to picks and bans to get this match sorted out right away. The interesting story to me on Garf's Goblins, outside of that Lord Garfield leading the namesake of this team, is Sunprod, who has been catching a lot of that story and has kind of had those ups and downs through Swiss. But when Sunprod is on, that's where this Garf's Goblins team actually really looks dangerous. But against Look Within, they will ban out the Morrigan to start.
Wow, that's actually a shock. I mean, the Morgan is definitely, a powerful pick in the right hands. I've seen Briz do some crazy things with just about every mid laner imaginable. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But, Look Within. They're in the position now where you just take away the Baron, or do you take away that poor, powerful Fenrir that some characters have been going to? And I guess they decide the Fenrir is the worst of 2 evils. Do Garf's Goblins value that Baron so highly that they have to grab it here? Because for what I remember, Lord Garfield is pretty much, I was going to say, hasn't been liking things like the Baron. So they actually go for the Amaterasu, which I already know where this is going, man. I can tell you right now, Sunprod put me in the dirt like 3 different times in the rank queues with Amaterasu jungle. There's no way they let this go to Lord Garfield's hands. That's an Ama jungle. I'm betting on it. Regardless, it can be very disgusting. I mean, if played correctly, which we know Sunprod's able to do, it can definitely pilot some aggression.
And into the Loki pick here for Look Within, trying to solidify that jungle. But the mid Anubis pick, I mean, Anubis can go multiple places, but I'm assuming round 5 of Swiss, we're not going to see anything crazy here. Actually getting the first look today, I think. I don't think anybody... No, we did see one Anubis today. That Baron is being shaded over here on the Garf Goblin side as well.
Yeah, I love this Baron pick. I mean, it's just got so much CC, so much setup. Remember, again, I think this Ama probably goes towards jungle, so we see the Baron locked in. That's likely support. I don't think we'll see the Baron solo this time around. I just see Lord Garfield, like, he just loves chalk, man. The dude loves chalk above, like, more than anyone else, honestly, in the league currently. Like, we'll see.
I don't think anyone likes chalk.
Exactly. I don't think anyone does. So we'll see about that one. Maybe, though. Maybe try something new. We could see the Mordred solo. A lot of different options here. Again, Dest could just take the Baron mid as well. Smite 2, if nothing else, brings so much diversity and roles for each pick. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. But with the Loki and the Anubis, you gotta figure they need some frontline, some tank stats to try and stand at the forefront of this engagement. Unless, of course, that Anubis does go over towards the solo lane. On her, definitely not what I would have expected, especially with something like Jingwei available. But, Jorby, to our point that we were bringing up in game number, or set number 1 today, sometimes early game is everything. And when I see Baron, when I see Mordred, when I see Ama, it doesn't seem like they want to let Loki get online. So a great way to, you know, sort of balance that for yourself. Grab the On Her, forego the Jingwei that takes a while to get online, and just grab the On Her, who right at level 5 has some kill potential.
I mean, we kind of saw it in the first set, but also in the second set with Borscht, is that aggression seems to be the meta that works out if you can play it well. And a lot of teams have played it well. The content getting locked in here on Garf's Goblins, definitely not as aggressive on the Goblin side. Look within, certainly lining up with that Yemoja pick as well to try to get as much early pressure as possible. And I imagine they round this out with, you know, maybe like I said, Baron support over on that solo side. You got Mordred and Jingwei will get locked in most likely here. You were wondering about it. It was the On Her instead, and Jingwei, definitely that late game comp again here for Garf's Goblins. We saw previously this very similar comp almost work out for TLM earlier today. We'll see how it works for Garf's Goblins.
I mean, Jingwei just has such a good matchup here. Like, On Her, if you're going to leap in, try and disperse and into an impale, she can just dash away. Yemoja, the Riptide, not going to be that big of an issue. And of course, Airstrike is your get out of jail free card. So definitely a safe pick there for Drunk Diplomat. But again, you're going to get outboxed by On Her until, I don't know, probably like 4 items or so, depending on the lead that you have going. But look within, they have their last pick up here. Probably a solo laner, but again, Anubis could very easily take that role, and then we could see a mid laner get picked up here. It really just depends. I like Briz on hard carry picks, and Anubis can be that for sure. So you know what? If I was Briz, I wouldn't hate. Just say, guys, I got this. Let me play the Anubis. You know, just pick a tank, stand in front of me, and I'll be able to control how the mid lane goes. And yeah, I don't think Briz is taking the Hades mid lane, so that locks it in for me. I got both mages in this case. I would much prefer Hades going over towards solo, likely dealing with the Mordred. I think you're gonna have a better time in that role for sure.
Yeah, you're not able to get as much value out of Mordred with Hades. Much more focused on getting those abilities, getting that burst out, and just overall controlling the lane. That lane clear will easily be able to match, if not help outpace that Mordred a little early on. Although I don't really think it's like that big of a lane clear specific advantage, but it certainly will help you out, and not having to rely on your basics will certainly be a nice counter into Mordred. So an interesting composition both sides, but Trelly, I gotta ask you, is that who wins this comp? Who wins the draft between these two right now?
I really do think that Garf's Goblins got more of those top echelon picks. Again, I put a lot of weight personally on the Loki and the Anubis, but Yemoja for me is kind of dependent on who's piloting it. Like, there's a couple people in this league where I'm like, if they get Yemoja, GG. I like Monster Bombers Yemoja. I just don't think it's like, you know, top echelon. We'll see. Maybe he's going to prove me wrong. I hope he does, first of all. But I love Baron. Very easy. Can't mess it up. I love Ama. Very easy. Can't mess it up. Those are the kind of picks that I'm looking towards. And it seems like Look Within has like that late game style, but it's going to take a bit to get there.
It'll take a bit to get there, but it's not going to take us long to get back into the game for our final round, our final match of Swiss here in North America. Will be Look Within versus Garf's Goblins. This Garf Goblins team, I don't think many people, and Trelly, I'll ask you specifically, is like at the start of the season, and especially at the start of Swiss, did you have Garf Goblins in your top 8, or you know, you have them kind of petering out a little earlier? Is this round 5 appearance from them surprising to you from where your earlier expectations were for this team?
Well, here's the thing, Jorby. I'm glad that I can say this now because I was roasting Garf's Goblins as much as possible pretty much just a sun prod, because he would come into my chat and I would say, can't wait to see you guys get knocked out this weekend. You know, things like that. Just playful jabs, because trust me, he roasts me much more than I roast him. But I've been very impressed with the way Lord Garfield in particular pilots the solo lane, and I've seen that these guys grow every single week. But with that being said, we got a little bit of an invade here. Can you find the kill? No, perfect time. Okay, they were just going to proxy. I saw Kill Cam Kenny show up and I was like, are you just gonna roll up and try and kill Drug Diplomat before the wave spawns? The answer was no. They wanted to proxy that wave with help from the Emoja, and now they're already at purple buff. Remember, if they stall here, the wave's gonna be pushing under tower. This is a great call.
And more and more, this is becoming the strategy to proxy that wave out. Not something we actually saw a ton of today or even yesterday, but it comes out here and honestly executed about as well as you can hope for there for Look Within. Delay a lot of that potential to hold that lane early on. So love the aggression there early here from Look Within. We'll see how that continues to try to give themselves any kind of advantage here early on, as both sides on the duo do begin to bout a little bit. A little bit of trade on damage, both sides. That lane clear about even. The fight over for those buffs continue as well.
That's the thing though, like you cannot make that play with just anyone. You have to have something like the Emoja. Until we see like a Sylvanas in Smite 2, there's not many supports that bring that level of lane clear at level 1. You're gonna get caught out, you're gonna get rotated on, so you gotta know when that play is possible to make. And shouts out to Look Within to be able to go for it. Gives them a little bit of extra presence over in that left lane. But I'll be watching. I'll be watching Caddy and of course Sun Prod to see who decides to get active first. Ama, I think, needs a little bit of itemization. Oh my goodness, the tower! The blink too, you don't even take the tower shot. That's first blood. Wow. I mean, that is shocking. That not only, not the damage part, that makes sense, but the fact that you can dive the tower and blink out, man, that's an excellent play. That's knowing your damage numbers perfectly.
I mean, the timing on that blink has to be perfect. The window's so small for that first tower shot to go out. The Look Within, it's the little things already in the first 2 minutes that pay off. Luckily for Garf's Goblins, you know, if anything bad is going to happen, you kind of want that bad to happen in these first minutes. Find a way to stabilize. Lord Garfield going to catch 2 and might not be able to exit the grasp. Early Loki damage actually doing a lot of work, but also took a lot of damage in return from those minions. No play just yet, but able to control that lane with an extended look over at that solo. Meanwhile, duo lane still kind of holding firm on the same. Kill Cam Kenny and company over here with Diplomat. Kind of an even standstill on that side of the map. So that's where you think about those little plays and where a lot of that value starts to become greater, especially when you can't really push the advantage or make any kind of counterplay. Still, 2 commit over here to the solo lane and almost catch him out. We'll force that Hades out.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely waiting for Alfie to dash on the way, but just not something that you're going to be able to bait out here. You know, we talked about this again in set number 1, how beads is just like an afterthought and no one's looking towards beads anymore. And then we just see 5 beads picked up in this game. It's really like a team-wide thing where I don't hate the fact that Monster B has been able to pick up one, because you don't want to use your active beads selfishly on yourself, but getting one for yourself means you can be that much more selfish with it. Speed buff invade doesn't end up working out. No one has hit level 5 on this side of the map, and if anything, a little bit of aggression coming their way. Finally, Zaylen with the ult actually does turn to 105. Can you find a kill here? Maybe.
Yeah, he killed Cam Kenny's in a little bit of trouble. Just stay under the tower and you're gone. Briz ult through, not even an ult, just straight up got him. Still at level 4. It looked like he popped it through the wall, but geez, Briz, okay. And
yeah, that was a lot of damage coming through. I mean, that's the thing. Like, right, I think that purple buff invade actually gave Zaylen the ultimate, and then Briz sitting at level 6. Anubis just rolls up, says, "Hey, I've got plenty of farm. You guys mind if I roll up there?" So now we got kill already on the mid lane, now onto support as well. We already talked about if you want pressure, you're not looking towards Jingwei, you're looking towards on her. Where else are you able to fight? I mean, one thing that I've been bringing up constantly is the ability to pull Gold Fury quickly and very early on. One of the best gods to do that with is Anubis. And the fact that Briz already has a lead tells me, hey, we should be looking at Gold Fury at the latest like 6 minutes in. You don't have to go for it to like burst it down and try and confirm it, but at the very least to try and bring some pressure over towards Gold Fury, right? It's going to put Garf's Goblins sort of on the back seat and understand like, hey, we don't want to let you get late game. We're going to force you to fight us at this Gold Fury because we have the burn to do it quickly.
I mean, they just an absolute like crazy start in general, though, from Look Within as well. Definitely shading towards that, like the proxy, then the early kill, then kill Cam Kenny out. And I mean, the early rotation working out. Look Within playing exactly how you were calling it, Trell. You're a smart guy. Figuring that one out. I heard that's not no one wants to call you the smart guy.
No, they don't. That's high praise. And I can assure you, yeah, the other casters right now are like, that's going to his head. They are so mad at you right now for that. But man, I mean, you got to watch out for dual lane now. We've already shown that. Hey, Look Within, they're ready to fight. Left side of the map seems to be where their aggression's at. And remember, level 4 for Kill Cam Kenny. That hurts, man. It's not easy. Like this Baron just now ticks over to level 5, but that level of XP will start to add up. Sunprod, I don't know if you have the damage to kill the Anubis just yet, but hey, he's got beads, so Briz doesn't have any sort of like damage immunity here. Like you're going to be feeling the full brunt of Dazzling Offensive into that shield, so definitely not a bad place to look, but Briz is going to play this one safe.
And meanwhile, Diplomat having to put that lane down on their own. Cam Kenny getting this mid jungle camp, and the rest, everyone kind of back on the farm right now, but there is a little something developing over on this duo side. As the timer ticking down on this camp, Kill Cam Kenny looking for a potential engage. Not going to find much here on the Baron just yet, but still might actually catch this 2v1, but wrap around for the Yemoja, and River's Rebuke is up. That'll make this one a difficult one. Well, Kill Cam Kenny got completely stunned out of the play, but got right back into it. And Diplomat was able to do some damage, actually forced. Going back here on the duo side, Look Within, still doing that damage back again. You talk about the Yemoja in the right hands can be ugly. Monster B showing you that action right there. You gotta make sure you actually get that kill, and you don't give anything back, they won't.
That was unnecessary. I mean, Akali didn't even have to show up. Definitely does, but my goodness, Monster B showing exactly why this Yemoja can be a top-end pick, as long as you know what you're doing, and Monster B certainly does. 3-0 in favor of Look Within. I put a 6-minute timer on this Gold Fury, and you know what? I would have been fine pulling it, but at least you're looking for the kill on this side of the map anyways. Maybe a wraparound play. Remember, speed buff and purple buff. That's where the last action started from Look Within. It looks like they won it once again. Do you have an option? I mean, Drunk Diplomat does not have beads or ult. That may be the target here, but it looks like they decided to back up. They don't want to fight a full 4v3 because look at Briz. That Anubis was nowhere near, whereas Dest was, you know, relatively close. So, you know what? I like that play, and I like the patience here. If you're not going to find Gold Fury, at least find more action, which is exactly what they did.
Yeah, very smart play there from where I think we've seen a lot of teams today. They'll still take the fight regardless, and you like seeing a little bit more of that methodical play. Look Within certainly know what they're playing for. You have even a little bit of a lead as far as how you've been dominating in the little fights. Gold is basically even. Other than that, they're still kind of lurking around this Gold Fury. Look Within certainly want the look at it. They're just trying to wait for the moment that actually gives them that advantage. Briz is kind of lurking that way as well, but still going to deal with the Hekate in mid. Take gank over this side. Briz in a solid position to be able to handle that, as well as a fight in duo happening at the same time. Briz going to take a lot. The Baron Samedi coffin open. Not going to find the mark, though. Still, they're going to dive forward, and Sunprod will go in and at least get the trade diving under the tower. Cad will happily take the trade right back, and so an attempted dive, you get a kill, but what more?
That's the thing. I mean, I don't hate that dive. I think Briz is definitely a priority target, and now it gives time for Dest to try and find some farm, and I would assume get a little bit of a lead over in mid lane. But as you called out, Drunk Diplomat took a lot of aggression over on left as well, trying to find the river, just barely dashes out. That is quick timing and well played by Drunk Diplomat. They already had the airstrike down. If he doesn't find that dash right at that exact frame, probably ends up getting stuck and definitely takes the mean end of a Desert Fury. So I love that call. Now Drunk Diplomat trying to defend the Queen Naga, but now impaled into the wall. Drunk Diplomat, see you later. Man, Zaylen said, I'm not letting you watch us pull the Queen Naga. You're getting absolutely stuck. And that's well played.
That was a nasty pillar for sure. Sunprod comes in just to watch it. And Garf's Goblins want to play this. Get a couple of trades for their effort after losing it. Sunprod will delete Zalen with some help from his friends. And still a look aggressive side. This Gold Fury still available. They maybe force this fight. Looks like they're spread back. Actually looking towards Alfie. Alfie pops the ult early. That forces the beads out. No beads available there. Nice silence away. Well, Alfie's done the job to buy some time for the rest of the rotation. Getting deleted. They're going to need a response now as Death takes Alfie out of the fight. And here's the ult for Anubis, but can't find the mark. Can't find enough damage for Briz. Killcam Kenny will delete Briz. And, well, this one actually turned into favor for Garf's Goblins. They pick up 2 crucial picks here and may look towards this Gold Fury if they can force everyone else out.
That's the Thames. Zalen's on the way. Doesn't have ult to go in for the steal here. All the while, Lord Garfield zoning 3. Pop the Phoenix Feather just to survive. Can anyone get him out of trouble? Looks like they've just left him to die, but Lord Garfield, he's got the juke shoes. He might be out.
Wow.
His whole team just left him and said, you know, we're going to trade your life for gold. And he said, you fools, I have Phoenix Feather. Some of you guys in chat might say, what even is that item? It's a heavy magic prod item that essentially can rewind time and give you some extra HP. That's kind of the idea here. Phoenixes have 2 lives, and in this case, Lord Garfield had all the stall in the world there and was able to not only get gold for his team just by zoning, but live to tell the tale. And this all starts from Alfie just thinking he's pulling beads off of Dest and getting out for free. But you gotta give props to Lord Garfield. Went into that Pursue the Weak, picked up Briz, said, hey, not only am I not gonna let the Anubis help you, we're going to kill him afterwards and then go to gold. It's a heads-up play. It's always about trying to get the stuff after the stuff. And in this case, Garf's Goblins got plenty.
And those are the types of plays you want to see from Garf's Goblins. You know, maybe have some of that inconsistency, but or Garfield making those kind of plays. It's a nice kind of return to form here for Garf's Goblins after those first 3 or 4 minutes were really getting ran around by Look Within. Made some crucial early plays, but then, you know, those follow-up minutes, the response, Garf Goblins certainly had the answer, finding some picks. Another fight developing in the mid lane, and yeah, you're not going to find much there. Cad just gets forced out completely with all that damage available. They're actually just going to force this, maybe try to steal it out. Sunprod, no problem getting aggressive and trying to show that Ama, but the on her versus Jingwei. Well, this early, Zalen's impales. He got that one. Won't find any here. Will actually blink to really protect himself. You see everyone swarming here on Garf's Goblins.
And that's the thing. Lord Garfield has never been one that's afraid of like rotating over, but look at where Alfie is. Alfie is currently stealing away all the farm on the map from the opposite side. Says, my team can fend for themselves at the moment. I'm going to just bleed you guys dry from farm on the right side of the map, push some waves underneath, and now a little bit more aggression. Caddy goes for the ult, finds damage on a Drunk Diplomat. That saves the tier 1 tower, and you lose beads if you are Jingwei. So Drunk Diplomat has to play incredibly safe for the next 167 seconds, which as a Jingwei, you already have a good bit of safety, but it still doesn't feel great. We've seen what happens when you take the mean end of a pillar stun, and Zalen's been pretty on point with them.
Yeah, especially because it's still going to take some time for Diplomat, for him to really make his presence be known in this lobby, for that Jingwei to really start hurting. So Drunk Diplomat, all about just surviving and making sure Zalen doesn't find any more impaling spots on your body. Yeah, Garf's Goblins doing well enough to stabilize here. And Inbound and Mal kind of talked about it beforehand that, you know, this could be a back and forth 3-game set on our hands. And I think the way this first 15 minutes is playing out definitely seems like it's going that way right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely a squad where both of these teams, if given the right moment, could be able to just channel something into a winning play. And what I love about Garf's Goblins in particular here is how willing they are to just group up and make a call. Right now we saw a little bit of a teleport over to right. Monster B unfortunately gets there too little too late. Tried to catch out Lord Garfield, who was proxying, but are not able to catch the Mordred. You can see though, look at Garf's Goblins itemization. I mean, 2 Ruinous Aunts, life, their anti-heal from Death. There's a Divine Ruin picked up from Killcam Kenny. They are worried about the healing from Yamoja, the life steal from Anubis, and the healing from this Hades. And already they picked up 3 different forms of anti-heal. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw even more if possible, like just trying to deal with the amount of sustain Ultimate away from Caddy. I was wondering if we'd see a pursue the weak, but no real reason to chase when the rest of your team is pushed up. They really want this tier 1 tower.
Yeah, they're trying to push it, and that pillar's only going to delay what feels like the inevitable. Yeah, there's just no response that will be quick enough. Grizz coming in. River's Rebuke also up. Just trying to move around Sunprod, who's moving around them. And, well, in response to the ult, but a little dink, a little dodge, and you avoid a lot of that Anubis ult damage, and will break out of it. Meanwhile, coming in to support a little bit, the Baron Samedi catches it. You're in the coffin. Dest taking Monster B and burying him underground. As the rest of Garf Goblins, the signal to move right back in. You've got the advantage. You've got the port, but CC immunity keeps you out. Zaylin will actually pick a trade. Kill Cam Kenny off the table now. Gone is Zaylin. Drunk Diplomat not going to let you live for too much longer. And Alfie getting zoned out from the rest of his team. Briz forced out of the fight. Garf's Goblins, another team fight deep in enemy territory going their way. And Alfie will stay right out of it. Maybe they want to get back, get some more CAD coming in. Could do a lot of damage. Just trying to get that buff back.
And you're okay with the 1v2, but it looks like the soft retreat here is going to be the call from Garf's Goblins. Running past the Gold Fury. There is vision on it, so Look Within doesn't have to worry for now. Alfie definitely playing great zone, dude. Just making sure that he knows, hey, if you guys want to get to my backline, you got to push through me. And I'm a very tanky Hades for this early in the game. And it looks to be the end of it. Briz would love to find a wrap, get some extra damage, but Sunprod immediately gets out of dodge there. Speaking of that vision, Kill Cam Kenny already walks up, says you cannot do the Gold Fury, but you can get some damage onto the Baron for now. That just shows me, though, Jorby, Look Within, even though they're a little bit behind, they're okay with going for a risky pull. They ended up just checking to see if vision was there. Garf's Goblins immediately respond, so we won't see a Gold Fury fight just yet. But all the while, everyone's on this side of the map. No solo laners are pushing right lane. This is a true 5v5. At least you're a little bit grouped for now, and I don't hate this at all. I mean, farm-wise, I see pretty much parity throughout the entirety of this map, except for the 2-level lead that Dest has over Briz. Besides that, not looking like too big of an itemization diff. I think the biggest take, though, is that Zaylin opted to go for Hastened. Not going to be big on the DPS, but already see Briz ult in the Goldfield. They're trying to burn through this.
Oh, they're coming right in. For the dash, Lord Garfield trying to come off of it. Can he get the steal? Oh, Look Within. Do get it. Lord Garfield will not end up stealing it, and they'll actually get out with all of their lives as well. Well, Cad and Monster B did fall. But still, you got that gold, and you'll take the 2 down for that one for sure. You're also going to get a tier 1 out of it, so they'll actually even that up pretty good. Garf Goblins will keep that gold lead and maybe even get back a lot of what they lost there on the Gold Fury.
Yeah, I think this is going to end up Garf's Goblins' favorite for sure once you get the Pyromancer and the tier 1 tower as well. Look Within. I mean, it was a well-timed beat, but they used that Anubis ult so early. It was very telegraphed. They showed, hey, we're not looking to fight. And that's what using a big ultimate like Death Gaze on the Gold Fury dictates to the enemy team. If you're using, I'm going to say 50% of your DPS on the objective, you're saying we're trying to get this and get out. We're not looking to scrap. So Lord Garfield says, I'm going to use my ult and get right up close and personal because clearly you guys don't want to kill me. You want to try and confirm this and leave. So you get 2 kills, you get tier 1, you get a runic bomb in pocket. Not a bad look, man. Garf's Goblins are okay with that, especially now that everything on the left side of the map has been done. They could just leave Drunk Diplomat on an island, let the Jingwei continue to farm up against Zaylin, who, as I mentioned before, opted to go for a hasten, meaning he's not trying to fight. He can't match the DPS of Drunk Diplomat right now. As you can see, they're squaring away. Already Zaylin's pushed out. Sunprod, wow, I thought he would try and chase that, but looks like the team probably called him off. Regardless, there really is no reason to be on the left side of the map, but everyone's here anyways.
And, you know, why not? That's where the red bars are. That's where Sunprod is going to go. Drunk Diplomat there as well, but Kill Cam Kenny actually taking Cat out. Cat has got
in the back.
Really picked on. Alfie being able to actually get in there and help zone him out. Briz actually taking Kill Cam Kenny down. A couple of trades, still not out of it. Pop the ult for Hades, and Alfie comes right behind on the back line. Will actually do a ton of damage here on Garf's Goblins, will force them off of it. You see the health bars here on Look Within, though. It almost turns into another full team fight win for Garf's Goblins, but you called it, Trelly. Alfie from the back line comes in and stops all of that.
Yeah, Alfie actually teleported from solo lane to the back line. It was a long rotation, but eventually found Dest. Unfortunately, this Kate was just too weak, was probably begging for the team to show up. It's like, guys, he's behind us, but a little bit too little too late. Still, not a bad look. I really do think that Drunk Diplomat's going to be the one to break this game open, because the on her, I hate to say it, he's going to get stronger, but he's not aging gracefully like a Jingwei would. It's going to take a while before we really see the best out of Zaylen, whereas Drunk Diplomat, you got Dagger of Frenzy, you have Executioner. You can either go into Kins or Crit here. Both work just fine. And that's going to be where we really see this Jingwei start to swing. I mean, Sunprod's going for that full intelligence spam Amaterasu build. You add Lord Garfield into the mix, and Killcam Kenny can just play peel duty. He doesn't really have to dive with the team because they have so much of it already with the Garfield Sunprod combination. So, I mean, Briz has been trying to just do as much damage as possible. You can see third item Shifter Shield picked up for this Anubis. I'm not sure that's even going to be enough to keep you alive from this amount of dive.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hard with the amount of bodies that are going to be put up against you, especially with the way that Sunprod has just been willing to dive forward and take you down, and already showing kind of ability to just dodge a lot of that Anubis damage as well. Had dodged 2 of those ults, but Alfie actually in a lot of trouble. Will dash, but that just might not be enough. Have some assistance from Cad. Ult popped. Alt into dash pop. Love that. I love the Smite 2 feature for Hades, but Alfie, that's all he can really do. Sunprod will get the kill, but still love that little feature. And look within, keep getting caught out one by one here. The trickle effect. Sunprod now with 2 back to back. And that's another Garf's Goblins look here with 2 now dead for look within, and more dominance in that enemy jungle for Garf's Goblins.
So far, that's been the call. And remember, we already saw the Pyromancer go down, so we're not going to see anything more really to do on the right side of the map. So Fire Giant is the obvious call. FG started up. Can anyone walk up? Monster B on the way. It looks like already Caddy's been called off. There you go, zoned out. There's no way Monster B is going to be able to step up here. So that's a free Fire Giant going the way of Garf's Goblins. They use the Runic Bomb just to cement it in their favor. Go ahead, grab the Pyromancer as well. I do like this call from look within, but can you do it in time is the question. Here come the Goblins at 1500 HP. Lord Garfield himself wants to ult in. It looks like a steal. Oh, he gets it with the ultimate. Can you find the kill? Even with the blink. Oh, you're gonna have to find him in stealth, though. I don't know if you have it, but still, that is a sick play.
Oh man, you gotta be feeling dread if you're look within. Lord Garfield, what an ult. That's a Mordred ult that so many people dream of. I dream of. I'll never hit that one, but I'll certainly watch you hit that one. And man, how about it? Lord Garfield getting it done just when you think that trade's gonna get out, right? You don't want to force the Fire Giant fight. You get zoned out. You can't do anything about it. Go over to Gold Fury. Take that instead. Nah.
Take the consolation prize and then just have it stolen out from under you. The worst part is I really thought I was like doing too much. Like as a chair 2 there, I was like, you know what? There's a possibility of a steal. Sure. No, there was. There was a big possibility of a steal because they just did not have the DPS. Turns out, again, when you use that Anubis ult on the objective, that's the full brunt of the damage on the big half, right? On the latter half, you kind of have to whittle it down slowly with like a little spoon just chiseling away. And Lord Garfield just shoulder charges his way right through and steals it. And now we get to see how they decide to pick apart this map to go in for their push. They still have a tier 1 over and right. Could definitely be the call. Speaking of, this all started with Alfie getting picked out. Some more aggression heading. There's no way they dive this again, but they already have the backup. Sunprod's on the way.
We'll keep chasing it. Lord Garfield gets taunted out. Or feared out, excuse me, wrong one. Sunprod ult. 1, 2, 3, stun. Good night, deleted. Sunprod continues to just be a pain in the side of look within, but not just him, really this whole Garf's Goblins team. And you said it earlier too, Trelly, that there's no action on that solo lane. It has been 5v5 for Garf's Goblins almost the entirety of this game. Look within, the early looks, the proxy wave, the early ganks, the early kills. I think Garf's Goblins took it a little personally. And now they're trying to just end you right here. Here's another Runic Bomb.
Already dropped it down. No one's backing. Zaylen, I think you guys might need to come back to defend your Titan. Look at all the Baron's brews being popped. They're going for it.
Oh, going for the kill early. 23 minutes in. The Titan's health is melting. And the walls don't matter.
Wow.
That's game number 1 to Garf's Goblins.
Wow. Caddy and Zaylen were actually getting tier 1s. They were like, okay, let's think about this. If I can finish Titan's Bane, maybe I can get Executioner. Next fight's going to be really sick. And they're like, bro, they're ending. Our Titan is dying. Like, we need you back here so quickly. Please channel your backs. Too little, too late, man. When I saw 4 Baron's brews get popped all at the same time, I'm like, they aren't going for the end call. And they knew their damage, man. They had it.
Oh man, that's crazy. It really
Yeah.
doesn't feel like that one should have ended when it did, but it did. And shout out to Doug on the sticks, on the observing, catching the Mordredal and the Gold Fury steal, and so many other of those moments. That was a nasty play. I definitely want to watch that one back as well. That's what I want to see.
Shot. Yeah,
Yeah. Just the straight beeline was amazing. That's what I want to see out of round 5 in Swiss. That's what I want to see. I want to see the plays, Trelly. The plays. We're getting the plays,
what?
man.
You gotta win here if you are look within, because Garf's Goblins, they have a 1-game cushion now. In theory, they wouldn't want to do this, but they could just like chill and relax this game and then play for late game. Whereas look within, they're gonna be like kind of sweating. They're like, bro, they stole gold from us with a freaking Mordredal. Like, how are we gonna be able to come back from this? We need to lock in. We need to lock in because we cannot let that happen again. I don't envy the position they're in. They got to figure it out.
Garf's Goblins, they've been getting better and better every week. And how about that to start your round 5 match of Swiss? 1 to go to make it to the playoffs. Can they get it done? Find out after the break. Welcome back, folks. If you are just tuning in, or if you missed any of the action this season, or even in seasons past, you can always go to the SMITE VODs YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. All of the matches played in Pro SMITE, all in one convenient place on YouTube. So check that out. If you missed any of the matches today, those will be up soon. And any other week of Swiss or before that, you'll be able to catch those games as well. We're in the middle of Garf's Goblins versus Look Within. Garf's Goblins took a surprisingly quick game number one, ending it at the 23-minute mark, just barreling down the right lane, Trelly, and taking the Titan. And looking at the post-game stats, you can see, well, a lot just went right here for Garf's Goblins.
Yep, it definitely seemed like they were trying to get Sunprod this Amaterasu. Once they got him that Amaterasu, they kind of just let him work, right? They said, hey, Lord Garfield's going to rotate over, help us with just about every single kill. Was everyone a part of almost every kill? Yeah, that's a ridiculous amount of kill participation for just about everyone. You got 8 for Garfield, 8 for Sunprod, you got 11 for Kill Cam Kenny, but just, you know, they were very grouped. It was a cohesive unit. They were not playing, no one was trying to be the hero. They were all just sort of squatted up together. There was a couple times where Alfie wasn't really matching the rotation of Lord Garfield because he was split pushing and taking away tons of farm. But look at the GPM. I mean, the Garfield wins the day. Even though he was grouped up with his team, he was still able to stay relatively farmed. His itemization was clean. And as you said, it seemed like that game was going to go at least 5 to 6 minutes longer. But they were like, hey, we've got a runic bomb. We can get this Phoenix quick. No one's backing to stop us. Let's just walk in a Titan room and sort of roll the dice. And they definitely had the damage to end, much to Look Within's dismay.
They really did. And, you know, Briz was never really able to get online. I thought that was going to be the story of the game when he killed Cam Kenny under tower through the wall. I think, okay, early game Anubis, here we go. He's going to burst everybody down, but then he could never actually lock anyone else down. The follow-ups weren't there. Like I said, Garf's Goblins, total unit. So into this next pick and ban phase, I mean, do you try to isolate Sunprod here and just ban Amaterasu? We never really see that. Ama usually makes it to the first pick, but knowing how dominant it was, I mean, we talked about Lord Garfield being well as well. It might not even be worth it to try to, because he still might lose.
Yeah, the benefit here is that Look Within is first pick, so they can sort of, you know, dictate how they want this draft to go. Fenrir is going to be the ban from Look Within, so Garf's Goblins have the option. Do they want to ban something, you know, eclectic like the Morgan, or do they just want to say, you guys can't get Baron, and we'll go from there? They are going to stick with that Morgan ban, so now Look Within, they can try and change things up. Do they want to take the Ama for themselves, not give that over to Garf's Goblins? The answer to that is an overwhelming yes. They didn't even think about that very much. They're like, there's no way that Sunprod gets his hands on this again. You better find something new for jungle. And if memory serves, I think Sunprod likes to go to the Loki when this Ama's not available, so we'll think about that one. But the party is still here, and I got no problems with seeing that Baron Samedi run right back.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Samedi looked great for Garf's Goblins. First time around, Susanoo going to be locked in here for likely that jungle push. And at least I don't ever see Susanoo in solo these days. So I doubt that that's going to happen. But on these back two picks, I'm curious where Sunprod will land on these. Because that's kind of who I'm looking at on this team again, with the way that he played. But without that Amaterasu, we got Anubis getting locked in again here for potentially Briz, I suppose. But I guess solo's still a potential opening for him.
Yeah, I think Sun definitely just takes the Susanoo here. Again, I like the Loki form, but the Susanoo still does bring that same level of late game hard carry potential if you're given the right situation. So I'm never going to be upset about that one. Loki just going to be locked in once again. So a majority of a run back here so far, depending on where these picks end up going. But I don't think you take Amaterasu anything other than over towards solo for now. Over towards Alfie. So we'll have to look as to how the Garf's Goblins try and deal with it. Looks like Jingwei gonna be the call here for Drunk Diplomat. Again, no problems here. Like run back pretty much everything you can. I wanted to see the Mordred, and we get that again as well. As far as I'm concerned, there were no answers for the Mordred. And it wasn't as if Lord Garfield was like just soloing everyone. It was more so just in the right place at the right time, always finding those key ultimates, always zoning who he needed to be zoning, had anti-heal for his team. In my opinion, he just did everything right. There are solo lane positions where they just hard carry the game and solo everyone. And then there's solo lane games where they just are a unit, you know, they just exist and they just make your life miserable, and that's what I like from Lord Garfield.
Now, Cernunnos getting locked in against this Jing Wei, and then Monster B will get back onto that Yemoja. Actually really liked how Monster B was playing. For the little bit that Look Within were really in the series, I thought had some pretty nice plays on it. And I love seeing a good Yemoja, so maybe they get a chance to turn it around here. Hecate will be locked in here on the mid lane for Garf's Goblins. So we got the comp that, well, at least the Mordred that you were wanting. But how do you feel about this Cernunnos versus Jingwei? I know there's not many options you can have against Jingwei right now, but Cernunnos, obviously, with his buffs, in a much better spot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could see Garf's Goblins, they ran back the entire composition but the Amma. So, like, they knew what they wanted. So Look Within said, okay, what are we going to do differently? We're going to take away Amma, and we're going to bench the Honor. Those are the two immediate things that I see here. I much prefer a Cern over towards the Honor, so not going to be a bad look whatsoever. You have even more clear potential. You have even more CC. I guess not more, but like a similar amount of CC. And you just have better shred, which is kind of what CERN really provides here. So definitely not something that I'm going to be upset about. One of the issues that I saw was that Look Within a lot of times was going for these objectives calls, and they weren't able to do it quick enough, right? A lot of times they were kind of left holding the door after the objective went down. They got cut out. Add CERN into the mix and Amma now. You're still doing objectives incredibly quickly with the Anubis, but now you have Amma passive and CERN's glaive auto attacks. The objective shred is going to be even more dire here for Look Within. So Garf's Goblins, their ward coverage is going to have to be pristine, because if they're gone for like a second, Gold Fury could just be pulled right under their noses.
I'm kind of looking at Caddy as well. It did not have a successful time on this Loki, and you're going to need some of that support. But the way Garf's Goblins were attacking as a unit, that's the big thing for me. Kind of like you were alluding to, is Garf's Goblins likely don't go away from the strategy that worked for them. They clearly have great comms when it comes to the calls. They didn't get too aggressive and were able to pick the moments they knew that they had the advantage in. And when you're playing with that kind of confidence, and you're more focused on the team fights and forcing the fights in the jungles rather than in the lanes, when you're playing with that kind of confidence, for Look Within, I mean, what's the play to try to play around that? Maybe this early invade. We did see them proxy the wave early in game, or at the start in game number 1. But looks like this time they're hoping for a full pick.
Oh man, Garf's Goblins is waiting for the proxy. That's what they were doing. They're sitting here going, hey, last time you guys picked Yemoja, you went around the tower and cleared the wave. So they're just sitting there waiting to see if they'll go for the same call. We have the benefit of seeing exactly where Monster B and Zaylan are. And if you ever try a cheeky strat like that, you never do it twice in a row. Everyone knows that rule. They are going to be waiting for it, and they do not walk up into the trap for now. Of course, I do think that Look Within still has that same level of aggression in duo. Like Yemoja and CERN can certainly just like power clear the wave. Jingwei can't really match that level of presence that Zaylan can at the moment. But remember, Sunprod came over, I believe, at level 3 to try and find some action. Sunprod is a jungler who likes to find ganks like pre-level 5. And I wouldn't be surprised if he tries solo lane and duo. Like, there is a lot of freedom that you can be granted here with a Susano pull. So pay attention at level 2 for sure. Monster B trying to go in for the invade. Only doesn't have Sunder, so would have to get it raw. Yeah, does not end up getting the invade. Could be in a little bit of trouble, but this is just someone who understands Yemoja to the fullest of the extent, right? You have so much more damage than any other support at level 1. That Omi can go a long way.
Yeah, it just knocks down so much more than you're even expecting. Even if you're in lane, you take one, you're like, wait, why is this doing like a fifth of my health bar? Certainly, I mean, we saw mid laner yesterday play this Yemoja to almost perfection, and kind of turning me into a Yemoja fan right before my very eyes, watching good players play them. And a little bit of a duel here at the mid camp. Sunprod actually gets forced out with a little bit of support, but Sunprod also has some support. There was a little tiny storm onto Cad, and Sunprod has won this duel last time, but it's actually taken a lot of damage from Briz, taking Sunprod down, getting that Anubis first blood.
Yeah, it's not exactly the fight you want to take there, unfortunately, but hey. Yeah, Susano, like I said, level 2 can find a kill, but you don't want to fight someone who's level 3, and of course, Des really could not help out there, unfortunately. So now you got a first blood onto Briz. Very similar to how last game started. I believe Briz got second kill on this Anubis, but regardless, still a good early lead for the Anubis can go a long way. Relic-wise, just some beads, but there are double blinks. Zaylin and Caddy have picked up the blinks, whereas on the opposite side, we got a Phantom Shell for Kill Cam Kenny, and then Dez opted to go for the Aegis. Definitely a smart call. When you're up against Anubis and Loki, I think the Aegis will be worth its money in gold by the end of the game, just by how much damage you have immuned. I'm trying to think, like, I think Caddy should keep this pressure up. You should be hitting level 5 first now, just by nature of good farm, but this doesn't stop Sunprod. As I've told you, he loves going for these ganks whenever possible. If Alfie dashes, you might have some kill potential, but I don't see a reason for Alfie to dash if he doesn't know where the Susano's at.
He's really thinking about it. Staying there for a good while for that to develop. I mean, not exactly the timing you want on that rotation either for the gank, right? You do have to be careful, because especially in these early moments, you talk about Caddy hitting level 5 first, and you're only just delaying your own farm. If you're Sunprod, if you take too many looks in lane, especially after you already went down once, and you help get this Briz online, or this Anubis from Briz online. And already the blink in, Zaylin will actually take Kill Cam Kenny out of the play. And this is starting a lot of how game 1 started. Look Within are finding the early picks, they're getting the early plays, but it's always going to come down for Garf's Goblins to that team fight portion. When they decide to fight together, they have to make sure they don't fall too far behind before they actually get to that point. And Look Within are doing a great job actually keeping them down for now and get slightly ahead in every phase. And more of the fight, Look Within are bringing it right to them. And is barely escaping. Kill Cam Kenny will not give up another one, and reinforcements have arrived. Drunk Diplomat taking a look at Caddy as well. It's a big look here. Over on the purple buff, does go to Look Within.
And I love the aggression there. And the Garf's Goblins, they kind of grouped up, but it seemed like they were a little afraid, right? Saw a couple ultimates come through, and that's kind of the issue when you're down a bit. Finally, now we're seeing those level 5s hit for Garf's Goblins, whereas Look Within, they had all the pressure in the world there, where they could really do no wrong. An attempt at a gank on the Briz. I don't really think you can find the kill, but you can definitely find the ultimate down. So, hey, Death Gaze. That's going to be taken off the table for now. It seemed like bees might have been the call there, but Briz held on to the bees smartly. Smartly, that's not a word. Very intelligently, I should say. Now, oh man, the game from Monster Bee finds a beautiful river.
And you got Crash drowned on. Monster Bee will get the kill, and Drunk Diplomat falls to Monster Bee. When the Yamojis are good, they are great, and swimming quite nicely right now under Monster Bee's tutelage. Our Look Within here in the first 5 minutes.
I mean, they are doing just everything right on every lane at the moment. I mean, a lead quite literally everywhere. 2-level lead. Monster Bee and Zaylin. Here comes the double ult. Doesn't even need the second ult, I should say. Just one. That will fall down. And Kai does not have to blink on out of there, because that tower shot is an afterthought. But that's Aegis down from Dest as well. Man, so much overwhelming aggression. It just doesn't seem like Garf's Goblins can fight. That's obvious, but I don't even think they should be stepping up at this point. I mean, Kill Cam Kenny's level 4. We're about to see level 8s come through for Look Within. That's going to be just double the XP that Kill Cam Kenny's been able to grab if Alfie clears one more wave. So, yeah, I'm thinking tower line should be the call, but Drunk Diplomat's up past halfway. Like, what are you doing that far?
Drunk Diplomat, will you even survive this push? You get a little bit of an assist, and actually a rotation. Sunprod comes right in, but gets stunned in the middle. And that's Cernanos doing work. Great job from Zaylin, giving that retreat, preventing what would have been a frag onto Caddy. And I mean, you're talking about a 3K lead. This early was a 3K lead a minute ago too for Look Within. It's so much more dominant in the first phase of this game, where they weren't actually getting a lot of those engagements after the first few minutes in game 1. This time they're actually making it work. Sunprod starting to look a little deadly though. He spent some time farming. He's about even with Caddy. He's still kind of at the same amount of XP, but you know, if he can get those rotations going with Susanoo, it can still flip this. Still very early, and Garf's Goblins are at least maintaining the 3K deficit.
Yeah, I agree. It's not as if this game's over, but it just seems hard at the moment to try and step up. I think Look Within is in the position where they should definitely be looking to try and, you know, keep this pressure forward like they've been doing, right? Step up towards these buffs, look for the invades, Oh man, Sunprod, I think this lost that attempt. Has to definitely leave, but you're surrounded, and see you later. Alfie picks that one up. Yeah, I'm thinking a Gold Fury pull is in order here. And look within, this should be uncontested. I don't see why you let anyone get even close to attempting the steal. Anyone who looks at this Gold Fury should be dead.
I think my favorite part of that was Briz and who was it? It was like, it looked like two ults got popped there to take down Sunprod. And obviously they'll get the Gold Fury on top of it. It's looking like a completely different game for Look Within. Sunprod taking away that Amaterasu seems to have done the job. They isolated him early, got an early frag on him. They took advantage of Sunprod's proclivity to go for those early ganks, right? Expecting it and actually wrapping around him in mid. They took him out, and without your jungler having that same kind of presence that Garf's Goblins clearly rely on, without that Amaterasu, they don't have that same bite, and they may have to rely on Lord Garfield, who has been this time sticking around in this solo lane without that same dominance they had in the jungle. Sunprod will take a look and try to take Alfie down here. Alfie has enough escape. Sunprod does not care. A TP on it, and a little 360 right, get out of there.
Missing Mordred ult, I mean, it's understandable. It's honestly pretty telegraphed. You have to use it at the right moment. But it just feels, it's one of those abilities that feels cool even when you miss it, you know? You just get to do a wraparound and say, I meant to do that, and go on back to farming. But it looks
we
like
still don't have so many abilities that go through the wall too, right? I mean, come on.
It looks like they don't want to give this up, man. I mean, Alfie is clearly not going to dash, so what's the attempt? Okay, I lied. He dashed. Can you find the ult?
Oh, go forward. Oh, that hurts.
Dude, he really said the party has arrived, and Alfie said I lost my invitation in the mail. Sorry, I'm not going. Ooh,
like you get to the house and you see like a couple of rickety doors, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to go to this party.
Yeah, and guess what? There was no one at that party. That was unfortunately not a party Alfie wanted to attend to. And listen, that's one of the desperate plays you kind of have to make when you start to see the lead go away from you, right? You need to keep getting proactive. But that was just, you know, a little bit too much, and Alfie did not fall for it, unfortunately. Queen Naga goes the way of Look Within. Already one Gold Fury down. We're 9 minutes into this game, and we're possibly looking towards the second one once it spawns back in. But for now, I expect to see a lot of this. Sunprod sitting in the jungle, just waiting to see if someone will step up and give him a free chance to get back into this game. So far, no one's taken it. And you can see Caddy's fine with that. He's matching farm 2 levels up at the moment and only trying to get higher.
Yeah, the more Sunprod ways, the farther behind. Probably did. And Zaylin also playing well on that Cernanos a couple of times on those ganks. Found a crucial stun, getting it out. And you talked about how crucial that CC can be, you know, versus that on her where it requires that setup. Cernanos much less in the setup department, or at least a lot easier to hit than it is on that impale or even that leap. A little look for Look Within as they continue to keep this aggression up. I mean, why not? You've got the gold lead, you've got the experience lead, you've really beat Garf's Goblins in every phase of the game in the first 10 minutes. And they are kind of looking towards soon that next Gold Fury, but it'll take some time as everyone gets back to the lanes, and we'll continue the farm.
And they can do no wrong at this point, and I mean that because look at their killing. Like, no one's on a killing spree either, so it's not as if, even if Monster B die, you're not giving a shutdown gold, you're just giving like a normal amount. Briz has an attempt at a wrap around here. Do we see the ult? No. Just trying to force out. Oh my goodness, that was just with Plague of Locusts. Now trying to teleport in is the call, but Briz, luckily, is going to be able to back up. But look at this ult just fending everyone off. No one can step up to this Anubis. I mean, why not? Why not go for the ultimate? You got Blink to get out of tower if you need it. Caddy will use it, just, you know, showing Death that he's not safe even under the tier 1 tower. The Gold Fury's going to spawn here shortly, Jorby. That's where I want to see the aggression, and I think we're going to need to see Lord Garfield on that side of the map. Look at this, teleported over. Will it be Garf's Goblins that teleport over for the pull, or are they just preemptively defending? Looks like they might just go for it. Yeah, we'll see.
Caddy getting stunned a little bit, and the coffin's out. Caddy gets caught with Loki gone. Kill Cam, Kenny, and company want to move for it. And this is a critical Gold Fury for them. They now created God advantage for themselves. How do you actually win this? You got Alfie lurking in the jungle as well. We'll come to these little plays. Zaylen's actually getting boxed out completely. Gets caught by the Mordred ult, and that just may be the end of his life, but gets stunned. Doesn't matter. Lord Garfield will make sure Zaylen falls. may be enough now, as long as they don't drop any bodies here. And that's what Briz and company are trying to go for, trying to prevent them from being able to get that Gold Fury. Alfie will do that on the back end. Killcam Kenny goes down, and Lord Garfield also gets zoned out. So despite the first two picks going really well, it turns around on their heads, and look within. Turn it into a boon. Briz takes down Lord Garfield with Monster B's assistance, and all of a sudden, this is Lord Garfield's fight.
Yeah, I mean, it started out going a little bit well, but at the end of the day, you got to keep your carries alive, and the Gold Fury was the target. All the while, Alfie was in the back line just wreaking havoc, unfortunately, and now look within are able to go for this one slightly uncontested. Sunprod's nearby, unfortunately walked over a ward, so if he tries to go for a wraparound steal, is going to meet the mean end of an ultimate from Briz. Tower getting low, Gold Fury confirmed, and I think you just get on out of here if you're look within. No reason to stick around. I mean, hey, Garf's Goblins show they've got some fight left in them for sure. They were able to pick up a kill on the Killcam Kenny and Lord Garfield, but oh man, Zaylin once again going for the patented second item, Hasten Fatalis. Is going to try and run down, but Drunk Diplomat's got enough movement speed to get on out of there.
Yeah, you know, one juke will definitely make that item hard to get the value out of. Drunk Diplomat has been able to do that. Now you talk about how do you stall if you're Garf's Goblins. Really try to drag this out as much as possible and win in those team fights, even when you did get that initial advantage. Somehow the team gets separated and you get zoned out into 1v2s when there's only 3 of them left. And then everyone spawns, and now you lose gold. Nothing's really going your way for Garf's Goblins. Talk about Sunprod getting shut down early. Maybe they could get some sort of team fight to work, but Killcam Kenny is all by himself, hoping to pull them off the Naga. But Monster B will delete Killcam Kenny, who had absolutely no assistance, despite there is a look in the mid lane, but nobody there to help out.
It seemed like either A, Killcam Kenny would walk up and go for a low-stakes steal, or B, did not think as many people were going to be there. Regardless, not the spot you want to be into. Remember, Hasten is online. Can you get the honor? Yes, Zaylin finds the solo kill before Drunk Diplomat gets up into the air. And you know what? Hey, that kill can't happen without the Hasten. So what can I say? I may have talked about it in the on her, but it's working out real well, especially when you've got a lead here. Alfie 3-0, Briz 2-0-3, and now Zaylin sitting at 2-1. Not to mention Monster Bomber's 3-0 as well. So I said there weren't any shutdowns to be had before. Now there's like 2 different people that are on killing sprees who you would love to kill if you were Garf's Goblins, but you just don't have the ability to at the moment.
No, and we're not seeing that same grouping potential. We're not seeing the positioning that we saw from Garf's Goblins that they had in game number 1, able to isolate, able to pick. I mean, Alfie was huge coming in after that first team fight over towards the Gold Fury and actually completely stopped any kind of push they had. Killcam Kenny goes down. You lose that zoning potential out of, you lose the zoning potential. Then all of a sudden, it was Lord Garfield got zoned out by the Yamoja as well, and you're just losing those little fights, and you weren't able to group, but you had it right there, and you should have had the ability to take that Gold Fury, but instead you got outplayed.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think Garf's Goblins were hyped that they got a kill. At this point, I think it was 6-0. They get the first pick, they're able to get a second pick, but all the while, if you're overextending that far and you're that far behind in gold, someone's gonna have to be able to get picked off there. And Alfie found that. Like, this Ama is already becoming a growing problem. Lord Garfield falls down, so he can't farm for that whole time. And that just lets Alfie climb further and further ahead. And now you got to think, okay, so who's killing the tanks, right? Okay, so Drunk Diplomat, but he's 2 levels down and he just got soloed. Okay, so maybe we look towards Death, but Agate looking a little bit worse for wear as well, because Briz owns that lane. Like, this Anubis is a threat to just about everyone. So it's really not like anyone can kill through the tanks at the moment. Monster B is also a threat. Like, this Yamoja is huge. Like, no one is burning through these tank health bars at the moment. So Garf's Goblins have to dial it back and just play farm game. And that's not ideal at this situation, because as you said, they like to group up. They like to play as 5 when they're even or even winning. But when they're losing, playing as 5, I think is just a disadvantage, because Drunk Diplomat's like, guys, can I just farm? Like, can I get 3 levels and some itemization before we try and pull a Gold Fury? Like, I don't even have a second item online just yet. So they're not in the position where they want to fight just yet.
Yeah, and I mean, Sunprod as well on the Susanoo just hasn't had that same kind of success. Yeah. And I do think that, I know I mentioned it a couple of times, but I do think, you know, your willingness to go and just gank early, and even after you go down, I think as soon as you go down as the jungler, like, you have to at least get yourself back up. He did do that a little bit, but then again, he just waits so long for some of these ganks, and so much of jungling in Smite, and really every MOBA is all about timing. And if your timing isn't good, then your farm is off. And if your farm is off, you're not going to get the picks. You're late to the fights, and then you're the one who gets picked off. It's exactly what's happened to Sunprod here. Has not been able to adjust at all. Now you're almost 8K gold down and likely losing game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a position to, and that's the thing. You got to give credit to Look Within to immediately figure out what the issue was in game number 1. Take that, which was the Amaterasu away from Sunprod. Get it to themselves, and it's working out very well for it. Jumping back in here, Lord Garfield to zoom on out of trouble as to make sure to not get dove underneath that tier 2. You forgot where we are. 2 Gold Furies already towards Look Within. I think 11-2, but we're in a position where Pyromancer should definitely be looked at here, Jorby. I want Look Within to just step forward with no ounce of fear in their soul. Like that, they really have to vastly overextend to mess up the lead they have built here.
You know, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I am that guy.
Yep,
and
exactly.
Just go in full bore at him. Why not?
Yeah. Well,
uh-oh.
All right.
That's what you get then. Oh, man. Zalen ended up buying when he shouldn't have. And so punishment is death to tower.
And then he had to go back and sell it. So, yeah, we won't be seeing any more of that happening.
But Baron's brew for you, good sir.
Now we get to go and see a little bit of action. Because, again, Drunk Diplomat needs just to be left alone. Like, that is the call here. Let the Jingwei just get some itemization online, if that's the case. Oh, hold that thought. Are we seeing the Akins? Can you get out of trouble? Nope, not even open the gates, man. Monster B is a menace. Why is Yamoja last hitting all of these kills?
Oh, jeez. Like a repeat of yesterday, watching mid laner do it on the Yamoja yesterday, and Monster B's trying to do one more, but Drunk Diplomat kill Cam Kenny. Actually, Briz going down. That's a big frag to help out a little bit, and now they want to push the advantage they got. Monster B gets completely forced out. Caddy's still around. So there's not going to be any action towards that tier 1 tower. Everyone looking towards this left side. And everyone actually going to back here. You got to pick, but the journey is going to be long here for Garf's Goblins if they want to get out in game 2.
So far, Sunprod does not want to be anywhere near this Ama. That's the damage that she can dish out without Dazzling Offensive. You don't want to see how much damage she can dish out with the ultimate, so probably run away. Yeah, I agree with that call. Drunk Diplomat, you also do not want to be near her. I promise you, man. Get away from this Ama. There's 3 items online. Here comes Caddy with the old Vanish. Did land, but not enough to find the kill. Did force out the airstrike. Oh, no. Oh, boy.
Oh.
Alfie, it just rinse and repeat, man. 2 auto, 3 repeat, 2 auto, 3 finally finds the kill. And guess what? 3rd Gold Fury, the game started up. And Alfie's able to play zone duty, but remember this one. You got the ult coming to the back line. Lord Garfield just does a drive-by just to let them know he's still watching.
That was the one time that was a truly zoning ult for Mordred. Yep. Watch them just kind of wave backwards. That looked hilarious. Well, if anything, Lord Garfield has given us some hilarious Mordred plays in this game. And no doubt looking towards game 3, at least Look Within are, as they do look towards hopefully a playoff berth rather than having to play in the last chance qualifier. And believe me, if you know anything about last chance qualifiers, being a player in those scenarios, there's nothing more stressful than playing in that kind of bracket. Gold Fury does fall to Look Within more and more. They increase that lead. You watch that gold increase towards the sky, almost 10K up here on Garf's Goblins.
Yeah, and they can do no wrong. As I said, man, they just, when you have this much of a lead, when you have this much of a threat, which is Alfie. It's not just Alfie. Again, Monster Bomber. Oh, goodness, man. Here comes the ultimate. That should be an easy kill on the kill cam. Kenny. They're just going to push up tier 1. Why not? Alfie's clearing out mid-wave. Just send Caddy over to right. Like, just get as much farm as you can. Garf's Goblins. I'm trying to think of where their comeback potential really is. And it's probably off of, like, a very cheeky Fire Giant steal. Like, stealing a Gold Fury is not enough. We are not in that position just yet. Good damage heading towards Lord Garfield, but he can always just ult out if that's the case. Getting Dazzling Offensive out is definitely a good look, but Alfie, it didn't even look like he got hit by any damage there.
No, yeah, popped the bees. I think the ult took him out of the ult right before it actually popped. So You know, you pop 2 to get out, but hey, safety is most important, especially when you're trying to protect the lead that you have. More towers will drop. Alfie, big player on this Amaterasu this game. There's been just no response from Garf's Goblins. You talk about what they can do. At this point, I don't really think you can do anything. You just got nothing. Even a cheeky Fire Giant steal might not be enough. I think you need a full team wipe on top of it. You just have not been able to even win when it comes to those small engagements. And if you're not taking players out of the lobby for a couple of seconds, it's just, you're donezo. You're probably thinking game 3 yourself. After that last pause, Garf's Goblins definitely going to try to figure this one out. But at the 20-minute mark, it may be Look Within doing what Garf's Goblins did to them last game and ending this one early.
Well, they're in position to do so. Fire Giant is available. It's not as if we're not able to go in here. Fortunately, got a dash on out of here. Almost finds it. My goodness. Zaylan, speed buff, hasten, fatalis. So quick. But as I said, Fire Giant probably on their minds. Definitely the call here. Don't hate this, though. Garf's Goblins are grouped up on the left side of the map. They're just going to try and grab a tier 2 tower and just see how much farm they can grab in the meantime. Not really in a position to go for anything else besides the tier 2, but definitely not a bad look. Immediately heading back to base just to make sure the Phoenix is not the target here for Garf's Goblins. But defense-wise, they have like a bit of wave clear with this Akate, but you don't want to be in range of Drunk Diplo, or you don't want to be in range of Briz, is what I mean. Like, this Anubis can be an absolute threat. I think Caddy thought there was a lot more there because that was just Sunprod, and you have like 4 items. I think you just win that 1v1. But hey, better safe than sorry. If that maybe everyone's in the grass, you know. I get the mindset, like, dude, I think all of them are in the grass. I'm gonna ult out.
That's true. You don't want to end up like, you don't want to end up like Emmanuel on Zeus just walking into your Phoenix, getting pulled, right? Yeah. Don't want that happening to you.
We had the information that there was nobody near. It made Sunprod look really cool though. You know, like he's like, bro, I'm ulting out at Sunprod. But that was more so like, I think everyone else is nearby.
Definitely just want to make sure you can get this win because you don't have any more lives. You got the tier 2s, 2 more to go. That looks like how Look Within will play this. Knock down all of the towers. All of the Phoenixes. Actually just going to pull right back here. Maybe try to bait in that Garf's Goblins team. See if they can create a fight ahead of this tier 2 rather than having a fight under it. That's the best hope Garf's Goblins have now. I wouldn't say critical team fight, but I mean, the next 5 team fights will be critical for Garf's Goblins if they have any hope here. And the engagement will begin. And of course, it's Alfie on the Amaterasu, creating the front line, zoning everybody out. Akate ult, not going to get it. Bees. And Chalice has popped as well. We'll have that healing and plenty of health bars here for Look Within.
Definitely not a bad look. You don't lose your Phoenix there. Alfie definitely overextended as well, but had the wherewithal to make sure he got out of trouble just fine. I do like the defense attempt, but here's what makes it much more difficult. Grabbing that Ancient Fury, having it nerf essentially 2 out of 3 of the Phoenixes and that right tier 2. I mean, your Phoenix is a lot easier to grab here if you are Garf's Goblin, so I don't hate the idea of looking for a play, maybe grouping up in the jungle somewhere. Could be the idea, but they haven't left. Look Within are still trying to push down. They did not go back to base here. They're pushing up the left side of the map. 1 runic bomb in Alfie's pocket. It looks like they're going for a bit of a 3-2 push for now, but yeah, I think grouping up on the left side is the call. Just about every ult's available, and already they're sieging forward.
Oh, and immediate deletion by Briz onto kill cam. Kenny has not had a good time in this game. And Phoenix will drop down without any protection for Garf's Goblins. The lasagna belongs to Look Within as they push through to back to the Titan. Alfie picks up another one, and this is looking like a game number 3. Look Within aren't quite done in Swiss just yet. You can pop the ult, you can do whatever you want, Garf's Goblins, but that Titan health bar dropping slowly but surely to 0. We definitely get game 3.
And another 23-minute game right as it ticks over to that 23-minute timer. I mean, these guys are just trading blows back and forth. This is essentially a mirror of game number 1, just in favor of Look Within. Now, there was a big higher kill count, but besides that, like, it was just as dominant, just the other way. So I don't know what adaptations you have to be made, because in game number 1, it was, okay, we need to get Amaterasu off of Sunprod. In game number 2, you got to get Amaterasu off of Alfie as well. maybe you just ban it outright, or maybe whoever gets Alma wins. I don't know. So in this case, whoever's second pick might have to consider taking away Alma. But what do you leave open in that case? Pretty much
Right, Briz is
whatever
more the
first pick
Morgan.
doesn't ban. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. We might be seeing a Fenrir, we might be seeing the Morgan. There's going to be a couple things that these teams have to think about. Luckily, we don't have to do any of that, Jordan. We just get to watch and sort of analyze. They have to figure out how they have to play picks and bans.
Now, I get to see everything from up here and then judge you for your plays. But you guys in Twitch chat can also be judging. Make sure you're typing in exclamation point access in chat if you're enjoying the stuff. You want to play Smite 2 and you haven't gotten in the game yet. It's for free in there. Smite 2 Esports is the code to do that. Make sure you do that. We're going to come back with game 3 right after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to the SMITE 2 Founders Series. We are in the middle of a head-to-head that has flipped both ways. Garf Goblins take game 1. Look within, come back to force game number 3. It's me, Jorby, with Trelly. And guys, you can also get in the game today. Guess what? You don't have to pay to get in. You can type in !access and get access to SMITE 2, the alpha, right now. You type in SMITE 2 esports to grab a key. You click the link, a little prompt will come up. It'll be like, enter the code. And instead of you going, oh, what's the code? Look on your screen right now. SMITE 2 esports. There you go. Easy does it. Get in the game. Hercules is in the game. I know you love Hercules. Some of your other favorites are coming back soon. Raw, yeah, you saw that Sobek. You saw Sobek. I'm excited for that one too. But yeah, make sure you get into the game, play some SMITE 2 with the rest of us, and we will continue on here as we get started for game number 3. But that game number 2 was a complete flip, Trelly, a dominant game from Look Within. They controlled every single objective. There was nothing that they could do. They zoned out. Sunprod took away Amaterasu, and they lost all their bite.
Yep, and that is something that me and you talked about. It's probably going to be a big contention point here in game number 3. I think neither team is going to be able to play this Amaterasu because Sunprod looked great on it in game 1. Alfie looked great on it in game number 2, and I don't think anyone's going to look game on it on game number 3. But with that being said, it was not just the Amaterasu. I think Briz got an early first blood, early kills on this Anubis has been, kind of par for the course. So trying to stop what this Anubis can do is definitely a good idea. And then, as I highlighted many a times, Monster B on this Yamoja, man, in the right place at the right time, forcing out so much anti. It's like maybe the Yamoja is something to be thinking about as well. Like there's just so many good picks here that have been going the way of Look Within. So definitely something to consider. I talked about the Mordred a lot in game number 1, and Lord Garfield did a bit right here. But when your whole team's just so far behind, I don't think I can weigh, that hard on the Mordred itself. Just something to consider is that, the Mordred did not have that same level of freedom this time around.
Yeah, definitely didn't. Do you think Kilcam Kenny still sticks on the Baron here? Did not have the same effect on the lobby as he did in game number 1. And I feel like without that same kind of force, I guess it does depend on how this draft works with the Amaterasu and where all of that lands. But I mean, how are you liking Kilcam Kenny on that Baron right now?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I really do enjoy the Baron, but you need like a frontline core. You need like, what's your call here? Because remember, in game number 1, it was Ama and it was Mordred diving and Kilcam Kenny was peeling. But now Sunprod really couldn't die with the Susano, which makes the Mordred look worse, which makes the Baron look worse. So I think the whole core just kind of got messed up. We'll see how they end up going through this draft. I don't know how Look Within, or I don't know how Garf Goblin's going to look if they cannot get that Amaterasu this time around.
Yeah, well, we'll see as we head into the picks and bans for game number 3. Again, both of these teams have no more lives left in Swiss. You're either in the last chance qualifier and we'll have to keep on playing in the weeks to come, or you get to go to the playoffs. You get a couple weeks off and you get to focus on the fun, low stress things like scrims and beefing with your teammates. But other than that, we'll see how these bans go. Do we ban Amaterasu or do we just ban Fenrir and the Morrigan right away? It's the Morrigan. Garf's Goblins do not want Briz to have Morrigan. They'd rather deal with that Anubis all day.
Yeah, well, Look Within. I think they're forced to ban Ama here. And if they don't, is the Fenrir going to look as good? That's the question mark for me. Because again, maybe they didn't think that Sunprod's Ama was the biggest deal, but they first picked it last game. So I think they understood exactly what they were doing, and they do, which means they're leaving open, in my mind, the Fenrir, and that should be it. I think you give it to jungle. I think we have our jungle pick locked in first here for Garf's Goblins. And then on the other side, you have your ability to grab something like the Hades, something like the Odin. But yeah, I think the jungle pick has been locked in here for Garf's Goblins. And of course, cannot forget Monster V's Yamoja. I sang its praises a lot in game number 2. I imagine I'll be doing the same in game number 3.
Wonder if they were afraid if Killcam Kenny was going to try to snipe Yamoja as well as the counter to their counter with Amaterasu being banned, because the first pick Yamoja, I think both in the first 2 games, Yamoja was either last picked or picked 4th. So the first pick is definitely interesting, and Anubis obviously getting locked in. While it didn't work too well for Briz in game 1, game 2 is a completely different story. So look within, no surprises here with the same 2 lock-ins.
And you get that Mordred. That should be going back over to Lord Garfield again. I've locked in this Fenrir for jungle. Could be support. I don't think that should be where it goes. I don't even hate the Baron. Now that we have, again, 2 necessary divers, Fenrir, Mordred, wouldn't hate it. On her is interesting. I mean, the Jingwei clearly got rolled. I get that. Like, there was no presence. That you could do nothing. But in this case, they just want to go in for the on her here and force look within to look towards possibly that Cern once again for Zaylin. Susano, though, is going to be the pickup. Not a bad look. Remember, Caddy's been going to Loki pretty much consistently. No one's cared about it. They haven't banned it away. They haven't picked it in front of him. So a switch up, not going to be the worst call. And they go ahead and grab that, no problem.
Yeah, do want that Cernanos against the on her. It's like Garf Goblins are really trying for the early victory again. I think they want to get to that team fight portion where they can really force the issue here, because the Jingwei just took way too long to get going, and when you're not even winning the lane, at least on her in the first 10 minutes, even if you're losing a little bit, you know, you're still an impale away from losing that lane. And Hercules getting locked in. So Herc has not been a very successful pick this weekend. Granted, just became available this week, right? But that was after the slew of nerfs that he experienced, because last week he was something different.
It's quite simple, really.
This week, not so much. And Hecate also getting locked in, but the Herc pick for Garf's Goblins, I don't hate it. I love me some Hercules.
I love Hercules as well, but we already assumed, of course, that Lord Garfield takes Mordred again, which means you give Fenrir over to support and you let Sun Pra jungle the Hercules. One of the big nerfs to Herc, there were many, was his cooldowns hurt a whole lot right now. One of the workarounds for that is picking up something like Jotun's Revenge, Tekko Kagi, things like that, which you get a lot in the jungle Herc build, but not so much in the solo Herc build. So, or support for that matter. So I think you let Fenrir go into support for Killcam Kenny and you let Sunprod jungle the Herc. Not my favorite pickup, but I've seen it work. So that's where I have things going. But look within though, I mean, the Owen last pick, I think it stopped a lot of what Garf's Goblins want to do here.
Yeah, I mean, you don't like this. This has to be an early victory for Garf's Goblins if they do end up taking this. Like, you don't want to get itemized out in that duo lane, which is exactly what's going to happen if you let Look Within stick around for a little bit longer. Is the strength of that Fenrir support will start falling down a little bit. You know, you don't have the hybrid look. It'll be easy to play the items against it, so it will be interesting to see how Garf's Goblins play this. And hey, I'm a big fan of like just doing something different in the draft.
Oh, for sure.
And just trying something new. You're like, all right, you know what, this didn't work, they're gonna ban our main strategy, let's just completely flip this and try to confuse them a little bit here.
No, I agree as well. Like when you've already like played 2 different games and then you just throw a massive curveball, I'm a big fan of this as well. Question is, do you do anything differently? Remember, game number 1, there was a proxy. Game number 2, they tried to counter the proxy. Game number 3, Lord Garfield's hiding in the bushes. There is a Sunder picked up for Alfie, which means if Lord Garfield is trying to steal away a buff, it's not going to go too well. I mean, you pretty much have a guaranteed buff confirmation in the Sunder, so maybe Lord Garfield tries to take the blue while Alfie goes for red, but Briz is here, so even that seems risky. I don't know how it's going to play out. I'm honestly interested. Okay, yeah, he just goes to fry. Oh, he took the minis. Okay, he just took the minis away and is then going to clear the wave and go back to his own blue. Interesting, I guess. Not what I would have done, but hey, maybe it opens up some doors, right?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. You also have 4 beads on Garf Goblin's side. The most beads we've seen on one team all day, all weekend, really. Actually, a lot of beads in general. You got to be quite happy about this, Trelly. All right, are you a beads fan or not? The way you've been talking about beads, I really can't tell sometimes. It just depends on who's in the lobby, huh?
Here's the thing, all right? I like a beads, but I just think Aegis gives you so much more value because the cooldown. and you could just rely on your tanks to get beads for you, you know? Like, why would I beads when you can beads? That's the way that I look at it. But at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of people get picked out because they're not sticking with their tanks with the beads. So that can be an issue there.
My favorite is why beads when you can blink. I just buy blink all the time, but that's why I'm not, you know, a professional player, or even remotely sniffing close to what these guys are. As there's been a couple of engagements. You saw the one in mid as well. Briz got a lot of harassment out on that Anubis. Definitely a look. You talk about Lord Garfield in game number 1. It was him and Sunprod leading the charge. Game number 2, Monster B really being the one leading that charge, but Zaylen right behind him as well on that CERN. Will that continue to be successful? Drunk Diplomat wants to get aggressive, and wow, the CC immunity, you called the Herc push before it happened. Now you get a little knock back over to Monster B. You do some damage, but not much more here, as Sunprod will get out and back right out, and over in the solo lane, Lord Garfield also battling for that Warhorn.
Not a bad look, and I love the fact that if you are playing something like the Herc, you gotta attempt to go for these early aggressive plays. So definitely not a bad look for Sunprod. Where do you look to find even more action, though? As you said, a lot of beads, so even if you do find a meaningful pull, probably going to get negated at least once or twice. But you got Blink from Sunprod, you got Blink from Lord Garfield, so they can certainly find some initiation here. That is what you need if you're Garf's Goblins, because again, Killcam Kenny, he can initiate himself, but you're going to get pretty much countered out by 1 to 2 beats picked up. And I assume Monster B is going to go for that purification first item. That's usually the call when you see a Fenrir. So that means that Sunprod and Lord Garfield, they're kind of the guys, right? Those are the ones that are going to be finding your initiation. I'm going to keep my eyes on them. A little bit of an ultimate there. Swing and a miss from Dest. Briz did not care about that one.
Yeah, maybe you popped that one a little too early. Even if you lock that down, I mean, if you pull Anubis towards you, that's a dangerous game. Okay?
Yeah,
that wrap is right there. I love the confidence there from Dest. You know what? Do it again. Why not? See what happens.
He's definitely just trying to pull beads. Blink into the ultimate. Well played there by Lord Garfield. Knew if he ulted where he was, probably gets body blocked, but blink into a safe spot. Then you get yourself the ult out. That is a cooldown, though, of 240 seconds. And Killcam Kenny tries to get aggressive, eats a whole helping of damage, and immediately says, I regret jumping in, and I'm going to stop that. But keep your eyes on Sunprod, deep in the enemy jungle. Might try and go for a gank here, but who's your target? You're going to target Lord Garfield gets ganked a second time.
Yeah, you're stuck in the cage. It's Odin's playground. Caddy will pick up the kill, and that's exactly where you wanted that kill to land. Perfectly executed from Alfie on the Odin. Caddy now on the Susanoo, getting that first blood money, and that's exactly what you wanted. Sunprod never really got to engage with Killcam Kenny when we had gone away from that. They decided they didn't like the fight. Sunprod taking all of those camps. Still, you mess around here and you're going to find out. You get polymorphed, you get bladed, you get absolutely annihilated. Zaylen will take that one all day.
Yeah, I don't think Sun recognized that there was a full duo lane behind him. That's a bit unfortunate. Tried to just take some farm, knowing that jungle was on the right side of the map while everyone was there. Briz really owns that wall, man. I mean, he mummified that wall super hard. Does still try to find a little bit of a scrap here. But as you mentioned, even if he gets the ultimate, you don't really want Briz close to you. If anything, you want to try and back up. But hey, when Kenny's here, maybe things change. Can we pull a beads? Definitely thinking about it, but decides against it and just decides to drop some vision down. So no more aggression happening for Garf's Goblins. All of the blood being shed is in favor of Look Within for now. Not any massive gold lead. I think the majority of the farm probably off the back of Dest. He's been farming quite well. And actually, you know what? So has Lord Garfield. Not as well as Alfie, but, you know, you'll take that.
Absolutely. Sunprod hasn't been spending as much time hanging around for ganks. Has been, granted, he's been in the enemy jungle a lot, trying to take their camps. But that first blood is definitely helping for Caddy to stay slightly ahead of him. But this is starting to feel a little bit like how the start of game 1 went. We had a little bit of give and a little bit of go on both sides. You really didn't see the snowball start to happen until about, that 15 minutes in, where Garf's Goblins really took control of it. And you're not seeing that same dominance from in game 2 that you saw from Look Within. Sure, they have 2 of those kills. They caught Sunprod out earlier, but I mean, since then, It's been a more methodical approach, especially on this duo side. You're not seeing Killcam Kenny take any too aggressive approaches. As much as they want to play aggressive, they do keep getting zoned out, and Monster B is a big reason for it. Just keeps the bubbles coming, and it's so hard to pop them.
By the way, Monster B is not back yet. Has just been sitting on the tier 1 amulet like this whole time. Just does not care. Finally goes back, gets a full bead. So that's going to help out for Killcam Kenny's ultimate. Already mentioned that's probably going to be the biggest thorn in Kenny's side is just squad purification. Maybe even Alfie picks one up. I tend to when I see a Fenrir. If I'm a solo laner, just have a second one just in case someone gets caught without it. But with that said, do Garf's Goblins have a way to find some aggression here? Kenny might have to just ult to immune or ult to pick up. There's an idea. Gets the beast down. Here comes a pull, though. I think, if anything, Look Within wants to chase this.
Yeah, they love what they see. They get the polymorph. They get the kill. Zaylen takes down Killcam Kenny. The rock comes out for Sun Prod, and finally, Garf's Goblins get something to feel good about. But they'd love to get a little bit more here because trades are certainly not what they need. They need a full victory on this team fight. However, poor Dest, you just get caught between 4 players on Look Within, and you go down quickly, but a bit of an ult to zone out everybody else, and actually you're catching them one by one. Lord Garfield, you got the back end of the cage, and sometimes being on the outside of the cage is worse than being in. Definitely the case here, as Sun Prod will actually get that buff thanks to the old knock-up push. That's all you're going to get, though.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Not really where you want to be if you're Lord Garfield. Makes a key rotation in to help his team, but right as everyone's dead, so then you just ult in a 4 by yourself, and unfortunately you end up getting left on your own. Not only that, though, a lot of damage coming the way of Drunk Diplomat. Man, Zaylen is really making me feel like this CERN is a menace. Probably because Drunk Diplomat doesn't even have Devos online, and Zaylen's got 22 stacks on them. So if you want to talk about just damage for damage, yeah, Zaylen is going to get the better end of those trades every single time. Little bit of a gank opportunity here. Here comes Monster B. You got to juke all the bubbles, and you don't even juke the first one. Monster B is going to pick that one up and riptide on out of here.
Sun Prod in mid will drop the ult. Briz trying to juke his way out of it. Will pop the ult. Trying to take Dest out. Dest will actually get the kill on Briz. Sun Prod diving with him to at least get a trade, but now Dest in some trouble, and that is the beauty of Hercules right there. All the support. Sun Prod pushes it right back in. A little dangerous for Dest. And happy that there was nothing in the kit there for Caddy, because Hecate was certainly in range.
Wow, that is, hey, you can't pay for that kind of peel, man. Well played by Sun to make sure Dest is in no trouble, and then pushes him back in and say, can we kill this guy? Unfortunately, the answer was no, but still, it goes to show the amount of CC here. Lord Garfield will blink out of the cage, but you might have to ult away. As we see ulting in, it's gonna be Zaylen, but you don't have the damage to find him just yet. A brutalize might do it, but Killcam Kenny can't find it.
That gets walled out. That will definitely protect everyone in dual lane for Look Within. And Monster B continues to just wreak havoc as a support, whether it's defensively, offensively. Dude is doing it all over there for Look Within. But Sun Prod is really finding some great picks early on, something he didn't do at all with Susanoo. He was the one getting picked. But that's definitely something to watch out for as the minutes go on here. That could really come into play for Garf's Goblins a little later, but also Killcam Kenny and Drunk Diplomat in some trouble. Barely any health, and you're not escaping Caddy. Drunk Diplomat down, Killcam Kenny right behind him as Caddy ain't giving that one up, and Kenny's staying alive. Bubble's not close. Yeah, you just avoid it. Woo.
And the bubbles started coming through. Dest's gonna take a lot of damage here. You've lost 2 if you're Garf's Goblin, so Gold Fury starts to look like a real good possibility. Pass it back and forth here. Zaylen definitely has the damage, and there is not a goblin in sight. Maybe you get to see a little bit of an attempted steal here from Killcam Kenny, but it looks like too little too late. And now Kenny, what are you doing? The Fury's done, man.
Yeah, as soon as you see the health bar, you just need to leave. And Dest, what a save. Just leave. Just go. No, there's nothing to play for. Well, maybe. You got the rotations coming in. It makes you a little anxious seeing him play. Yeah, I got the brutalized as well.
Very lethal brutalized. That was a lot of HP I just saw go down. Hey, you gotta try and defend your speed. In this case, Sun Prod was not able to defend it, so you know Kenny tried. Not gonna be the case there. But man, you said it was starting to look like game 1. I'm thinking it's starting to look like game 2 now.
For real.
Within, dominating throughout. Not a lead in sight. Closest, I suppose, would be I guess one level deficit in mid and in the jungle and over in the duo lane for now, but itemization is really where things start to take a turn for the worst. We'll see though. I mean, this Herc jungle I think still has some strengths here. A lot of CC. Sunprod's been in the right place at the right time. Can't find the pull, can't find the push, but at least you got the good boy pulling him back.
Got the bite for him, and you are in some trouble, Briz. Takes 2 ults to get you down. Dest will get credit for it. It was a full team effort just to knock it down in mid. You'll happily take anything at this point if you're Garf's Goblins. Very few things have been working out for you. The fight on the Naga. This Garfield trying to zone them out on the play. You got a full Glad Shield. You got Mystical Mail online for this Odin, and Alfie has been critical in some of these team fights as well. He's got quite the lead on Lord Garfield as well, but you can still take him out with some CC. How about the ult? That's a great way to zone it out. And the walls come up from Monster B as well, zoning everyone out on the team. It isolates Lord Garfield completely, and nobody could support him. Caddy will get the kill, and again, Monster B isolates a single player to get the kill, and it's Look Within making the plays. It's Dest in some trouble in between the tier 1 and 2, and they do not care. Caddy wants the kill. Caddy gets what he wants. Sure, tower, whatever. Kill me, I don't care. We've got the lead. We've got the numbers, and Sunprod and company, not much they can do here.
That is correct. I mean, you just got to stand by and watch. Your team sort of gets massacred by the majority of Look Within. Already have 1 Gold Fury in their pocket. There is no Pyromancer to do. There is no Gold Fury to do. So they just have to sit by and watch for the time being. I mean, man, 1-0-5 out of Alfie. Been a part of a good bit. 2-0-5 for Monster B. Can't believe he gets to get Yemoja again. I mean, like, I understand it. There was more pressing matters, but this seems like this Yemoja has brought so much to the table. Forced out Brawlers from Sunprod and Killcam Kenny. Forced out Ruinous Ankh from Killcam Kenny as well. You think more anti-heal probably to come, just all coming through from this Yemoja pickup.
I mean, Alfie on this Odin too. I mean, he's got 5 assists, 1-0. What more would you want out of your solo? He's been able to just rotate and do what he wants here.
And you'd think that'd be enough to force out more than 1 Phantom Shell, but it's only Killcam Kenny that picked one up. I mean, Lord Garfield, the blink got him out of trouble once, but the Phantom Shell probably would have got him out of trouble at least 2 more times than the blink would, right? The cooldown alone is enough to make that happen, and more often than not, it's the Odin cage that is stopping Lord Garfield. So I have to think that would have been a nice idea, but hey, Garf's Goblins, they love doing this play where they're behind, they just hide in some grass and wait, see if they can force something. Tier 1 on the left could be the call. Lord Garfield's here, but with him channeling his back, looks like they might have to give up their efforts.
Yeah, everyone's starting to rotate over to that left side as well. There's still a little split. Sunprod is taking a look towards Briz in mid while Killcam Kenny is looking for it. I think Briz knows he's around. The Sunprod will take the 1v2. The rock bounces a couple of times. Doesn't actually hit the second target, but Briz took a ton of damage in the fight, and they wanted to push him, but as soon as it gets a little deeper, you don't have the vision, you don't know where anybody is, you don't want to get turned on. And Alfie, well, how about the late rotations? He's been great at them. And we'll jump right in, get a ton of pop on this Hercules. We'll trap you in the cage, force you to blink. And Killcam Kenny also has to retreat. That's the effect Alfie's had in the lobby.
Gold Fury started up. You got Drunk Diplomat nearby. Really the only one that could go in for a steal, but he's already channeling his back. He does not want anything to do with that steal attempt. Looks like a Pyromancer attempt here from Garf's Goblins, but I don't think they really have any leg to stand on here. Immediately backed up. The second Alfie has been spotted. Yeah, you're going to have to retreat if you are part of the Goblins. I think this Pyromancer also belongs to Look Within. I mean, this gold lead is climbing very quickly and does not seem to be stopping anytime soon. Alfie's a couple seconds off the ultimate being back up. Why not just hunt and see what you can find? You don't even need your ADC. If you got Bridge and you've got your Death Gaze, Look Within put themselves in an even better position to try and look towards FG. If you were worried about their shred, you should, but if you were worried about their burst, now they've got a Runic Bomb, and that one's in Caddy's pocket.
Yeah, this is starting to look more and more improbable for Garf's Goblins. Man, and I thought they had played those first 5 minutes okay. Look Within still had that slight advantage on them. And then Alfie rotates in, makes life difficult. We got, obviously, Briz and the Yemoja, we talked about it as well. Caddy having a much better time not playing Loki and having the Susno get a lot of action. Briz takes down Lord Garfield, and with no protection underneath, there's just nothing you can do about it. You get pushed up, you're completely caught out. That's not what you want to be if you're Garf's Goblins. You can't be giving up free kills like this stage in the game.
You definitely can't. Queen Naga started up would be a nice confirmation. It's not as if objectives are really in their future, but nice to have regardless. You will see a little bit of action later on because of it, but for now, Lord Garfield's 0-5. Does not have enough tank stats to try and get to the back line. That was already something I highlighted they would need. They were able to try and come back in this game as a tanky front line at the forefront of their engagements, and they certainly don't have it. I don't know if you've seen the XP discrepancy, but that is a level 18 Odin and a level 13 Mordred. Lord Garfield is looking more like Jester Garfield for now. He just cannot step up, doesn't have the namesake to back up the tank stats that he can provide. Maybe later on some more farm will do him well, but I mean, look within. You can go for one more Gold Fury, it's fine, but I think you're in a position where you could bait Fire Giant very effectively here.
Absolutely. I mean, you also got Sunprod, who's been falling behind as well on the levels. Lord Garfield, you'll get the ult, try to get some sort of objective for you, but you've only put yourself in this position where you're popping the health pots, but there's no pot that can save you there. And more still, Sunprod actually gets the trade on Briz. That's not an insignificant kill, but they gotta get so much more than this. Ring of Spears to trap Sunprod within, and here comes the rest of the team. They take him off the table. It doesn't matter. Hercules might be big, but he certainly can be taken down. And there he goes. Alfie gets credit for the kill, and that is exactly what Look Within were hoping for. They get a couple of big picks, and they get to take more of those objectives off the table now. Garf's Goblins now on the edge. That Fire Giant is looking tasty for Look Within.
All the while, Drunk Diplomat is getting some farm over in left lane. Probably a smart call. No reason to be helping your team when you need farm to help yourself. Fire Giant will be going on all 5 if Briz spawns in here in 5 seconds, but looks like Kenny's on the way to make sure that doesn't happen. Do you find the jump steal? You can try your best, but it doesn't look like he finds it. Unfortunate. I mean, Briz started out. I can see the idea, right? If you hold fire like 1 HP until Briz spawns in, then maybe Kenny can go in for the steal attempt there, but just not well enough timed or not enough damage coming from a level 12 Brawler speed stick Fenrir. It just didn't. It was a very low chance and honestly pretty low risk as well. It's not as if the Fen was worth that much gold to begin with. But now we got to start thinking about defensive opportunities here. Hey, Desta stayed relatively farmed. Already has Soul Reaver online, so tanks are going to be hurting. That's nice. You have decent enough wave clear. You have a ton of CC to chain together, but something we both alluded to very early on in this game is the pure amount of CC immunity that Look Within have. 4 sets of beads and 2 sets of squad beads. 1 from Alfie and 1 from Monster B. Just goes to show, even if Dest hits a massive ultimate, even if Sunprod hits a pull or Kill Cam Kenny hits a pull, they have plenty of opportunity to make sure that that does not matter.
You already have level 20 on Alfie as well. The experience, huge. And Look Within might catch him out, but that's the level advantage. That's the item advantage that Alfie's showing you right there. The Gungears might Ring of Spears and completely zone them out. He's just buying time. He knows he can win this fight. He can sit here and dance all day. Raven Shot will come right back up real quick as well. Actually spear them in the face. Kill Cam Kenny hoping to leave. He'll leap out, brutalize out as well. And with the full kit dumped, that will be Look Within happy to watch the rest of Garf's Goblins retreat. And here comes the last Gold Fury for them.
Gold Fury started up. Sunprod's nearby. I think he just wants a speed buff as opposed to the attempted steal. He needs to get out quickly though, because if they sense a Hercules anywhere near their speed buff, they're gonna be upset. So Sunprod confirms it and is able to zoom away for the time being. I already alluded to the amount of CC immunity. Alfie did get pulled back like 3 different times after the beads went down and was still fine. So it turns out even if you catch someone with Look Within without that CC immunity, their tanks are just too tanky. Specifically this Odin. Yes, specifically this Odin, who just has so much tank stats to fall back on. Left side bird is the target. Caddy's not even here. I think you take this one a little bit slowly, but Look Within, they've got so much to stay, and it almost doesn't matter. They could overextend once or twice, and I think they'd be all right.
You got a lot of damage for sure. You had that early hasten still from Zalen. Loving that, and he's looked really good on that as well, but also a ton more itemization for him. So much power on this look within side. They're just waiting for someone to overextend a little bit, and then you get caught, you get stunned, and you die. Lord Garfield off the couch and into the litter box. No answer at all for this look within squad. Garf Goblins, try as they may, looking for those picks. They end up getting isolated again. Messing around, beats popped, and you will survive that hurt push into the Phoenix. But the rest of Look Within are also here, taking a little bit of this chip damage. The on-her pillar up as well. That's only going to do so much. They just regroup over that mid lane. Alfie doesn't care. Ring of Spears down, and everybody follows suit as tags all the Phoenix shots. Briz takes down Kill Cam Kenny and a couple more, and that Titan is following suit. Everyone leaving back. They're going to fight under the Titan if they have to. And that may be what they're looking at, but as Look Within saw them go back, they will just leave out, take that farm, play for the next fight.
Yeah, I mean, you saw couple spawns back in. Only Kill Cam Kenny is dead for the time being. A 5v4 under Titan. Not something that Look Within is after at the moment. They want to play this one safe, Jorby. They want to safely stamp their ticket to playoffs, and they are in a great position to do just that. Runic Bomb in tow. That's going to help out with the last Phoenix if they choose to go for it. Heading that over to Briz. Why not? The Anubis has done enough work so far. He can hold on to the bomb for safekeeping. And Garf's Goblins are scrambling to get as much farm as possible for the next siege, for the next Fire Giant fight. I mean, Alfie's been level 20 for what, 5 minutes? And Lord Garfield is level 16. He just cannot hope to find any sort of farm on this map that will catch him back up to this Odin. Alfie has been an absolute menace so far this set, off the back of just way too much aggression from this Odin, from this Susano. I mean, I think if I'm Garf's Goblins right now, I am not going for the traditional let's sit under our right side Phoenix and like hope we defend. I'm trying to ambush someone. I don't know who, but probably around a red buff or something like that. You got to just hide in the grass and find a pick, because as it stands now, I'm thinking even a 4v5 goes handedly to Look Within.
Yeah, easily at this point, right? I mean, how do you stall this out for? You're talking about like 8 more minutes, I think, until you can finally at least shore up the XP difference that has been handed. Fire Giant looking cleanly for Look Within. Don't have anybody really looking at all. It will be a free Fire Giant with everybody back, having to keep those lanes pushed up. 2 of your Phoenixes down. You simply can't afford to overextend yourself. And Alfie, he can afford to extend as long as he wants, as he extends the spear on Lord Garfield. He's owned this Mordred all game long, continues to zone it out. There's absolutely nothing he can do. And one more tier 2 will fall, and the final fight begins here for Look Within.
Garf's Goblins have pushed out a lot of minions, though. They've got time before they have to deal with fire minions, but do they have time to defend their Phoenix? Remember, Briz has a bomb. There goes the bait. Death Gaze gets that, but was it a bait? Kill Cam Kenny's at half HP, and here comes the ultimate just to pull out the beads. Look Within can do no wrong.
Taking down that Phoenix step by step, basic by basic. The Phoenix will fall. Garf's Goblins are hoping to just catch them under the Titan. That's the last line of defense that they have. Everyone will try to get that health bar up. You're talking miracle mode to make it to the playoffs. It'll be a couple of weeks off for Look Within. If they can get it, they'll pull off a little bit. They don't want to fight it off just yet. They want to see who's going to peak. Kill Cam Kenny will be the first. If anybody is going to peak, it's going to have to be him. But I mean, we saw what Anubis just did to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's so risky here to go in for the full Titan dive until you're ready for it. Maybe waiting for some ultimates, maybe waiting for a cage from Alfie to start this one up. All the while, keep your eyes on the Titan HP. They're playing it slow, but they want this game.
Well, the Rock not going to get as much damage as some prod is hoping either. And pushed again. Zaylan gets the first frag. Lord Garfield is gone. Another stun. Alfie forced back a little bit. Damn, Look Within really playing this methodically, grouped. Garf's Goblins are. They're hoping they can catch it out. But Alfie, a strong front line, will start the fight on the Titan. Des tries for the ult, forces those beads out. Health bars are dropping. You're getting some picks here for Drug Diplomat, but Sun Prodigy goes down, and that front line is melting. Kill Cam Kenny, it's only a matter of time until Look Within move to the playoffs.
Man, I saw Briz use the ultimate to try and get some kills. He was getting pretty low, but they just didn't have the damage to blow through the Anubis before the Titan damage was done. And man, well played by Look Within. In game number one, I was leaning pretty heavily towards Garf's Goblins. I saw what they were able to do. I love the game plan. Game number two, I completely flipped, right? Look Within had a great strategy going into P's and B's. I was like, hey, game number three is anyone's game. Turns out they knew exactly what they needed to do. They needed to get not only the Odin in Alfie's hands, but this Anubis back into Brizz's hands and the Yamoja back into Monster B's hands, man. I'm surprised he was able to go 3 for 3 with this pick because he looked disgusting every single game.
I mean, that was insane work from Monster B. Definitely, if there was ever unsung hero, I would definitely point that on Monster B. So
Yep.
many crucial plays, zoning out. You sure
Mhm.
didn't get a ton of those kills, right? But that's not what the support is there for. The support is there to zone, play, and give your team the chance to win. That's exactly what they did. And I like the try for Sunprod Herc. I thought early on, he was
Mhm.
finding those picks and at least keeping things even for a little while.
Yep.
And then just the snowball happened. Herc just doesn't have that same kind of power, that carry potential that, a previous iteration last week may have had. So it all fell apart. And Lord Garfield really getting outplayed by Alfie, like you were saying, really across the board. Look with them, took complete control of this series. Impressive match from them.
Yeah, at one point there was what, a 5 lead deficit, 5 level deficit from Alfie and Lord
Yeah.
Garfield. 0 and 8, unfortunately. This mortar just could not stack up. I really thought more Phantom Shells needed to come through here. Would have been able to change the game at the very least around the Yamoja and the Odin, but looks like the Blink was just more highly prioritized and did not end up working out. There wasn't really a lot of positive notes here from Garf's Goblins to go off of because from minute one to minute done, it was all Look Within. I mean, they had so much presence, overwhelmingly so, off the back of this Anubis, off the back of the duo lane, who goes undying, by the way. Like, of course, Alfie did. He was tanky, but Zaylent and Monster B could not find a death on them. That just goes to show how well they were positioning and are behind the front line in this case, because Alfie was the front line. Like, it wasn't as if Monster B was afraid, but like this Odin was just so far ahead of everyone, getting constantly sustained up by the emoji healing. And it just seemed very difficult to try and deal with. And unfortunately for Garf's Goblins, they never really got the itemization to try and burn through a health bar like that.
Yeah, 14 assists and 11 assists. That's mad work from Look Within. I'm excited to see them in the playoffs for sure. Garf's Goblins definitely can't sleep on that team in
No.
last chance qualifiers at all. I think that Sunprod, he kind of got picked on a little bit after that game one. It's like, fine, Sunprod Amaterasu, we're going to play into that. Let's see what else you have in the God pool. And really just got outplayed and couldn't really make it work. So really curious what Garf's Goblins will do. I know that they have been on one of the better improvement arcs in the Smite 2 scene so far. So got some work to do headed into next week for the last chance qualifiers. But I mean, Trelly, NA, EMEA, all done for Swiss. We've gotten through all 5 rounds. Absolutely crazy round 4 and 5 across the board. With, even the last game, Borscht just completely annihilating Mr. Play-by-Play, and a surprise to a lot of people out there. And I'm excited to see them in the playoffs as well. But what's the thing you're looking forward to most in this last chance qualifier specifically? Like, who to you is like a huge X factor in this bracket, and NA specifically?
I mean, that's what I want to highlight is just the fact that if you watch these guys today or yesterday and you're like, man, it stinks that teams like, Garf's Goblins didn't make it, or, you were watching First Name Zach or Mr. Play-by-Play, whatever it may be, you get to watch them again. You're going to get to see the learning curve. And sometimes in Smite's past, the teams that have been able to like go through the underdog phase and sort of get knocked down into this bracket leading up into big events like Worlds of Past, or in this case for Vegas, they end out better ahead because they get so much practice, right? So definitely keep your eyes on these guys. I gotta say that Garth's Goblins have already improved so much since that 0-0 section of this tournament that I cannot imagine they don't come out of that last chance qualifier looking deadly. But there is a lot of talent. Mr. Play-by-Play is another one that, despite losing to Borscht like they did, I think that they have a lot of talent on that roster as well. So I'm going to be paying attention to them very closely here in these last chance qualifiers. And just remember, and just take it like weighted scrims as far as I'm concerned, right? You're going to get a lot of extra practice in that bracket.
Well, we talk about the last chance qualifiers, and we do have that EMEA bracket ready to show you guys. So let's take a look at that last chance qualifier schedule. It's starting next week. You got Chase the Enemy, you got Disciples of Chaos, Let's Go Asgard Again, Mega Plumbers, and Project Win on the table. It will start November 2nd. Let's Go Asgard Again versus Project Win. And then Disciples of Chaos, who didn't end up playing that last game in round 5 of Swiss versus Bill's Goons, they will be up against Project Win on the 2nd of November. And then moving over to the other side, we got 5 games a day during the last chance qualifiers. So tons of Smite. If you were complaining for some reason that you don't think there was enough Smite, well, guess what? We got tons of it for you on the schedule here for November 2nd and even on November 9th for EMEA. And that's just Group A, but take a look over at Group B as well. And Trelly, give me your thoughts on both of these groups. Who do you have as the favorites in these?
I mean, you got to look towards all of these squads, man. I've been really enjoying watching old and new. There's a lot of older names that you may recognize from like old Smite pros and of past that have been on there, as well as some new talent. That's kind of what the name means. Titans Reloaded, definitely a squad that you want to watch out for, so pay attention to those matchups as well. That's kind of the benefit of a bracket like this, though, Jorby, is there's a lot of sleeper matchups that you got to watch out for. So I don't think you know what, if you do miss any of them, here's what I'll tell you: tune in on Fridays where we break up the matches that you did miss, and we will for sure tell you the Spark Notes version. But if I were you guys and I could schedule around it, I wouldn't miss any of these matchups, man. It's all going to be absolute heat from here on out.
Definitely. And, to catch some of that, if you can't catch it live, there are 2 YouTube channels you guys got to make sure you are subscribed to. Smite Pro, which does feature This Week in Smite 2 and does get uploaded immediately after it is aired, and Smite VOD, of course. So Smite VOD and Smite Pro. Smite VOD is every Smite competitive game that is played on this channel gets uploaded to that YouTube channel. And then the Smite Pro YouTube channel is all of the content around the game, catching you up, the games that you guys play that I always love tuning into that are good fun, and even some interviews with pros during the break. We actually saw an interview with OCE Smite that Malum had done. So definitely check out those if you haven't already. But we got NA LCQ also, not just EMEA, because we just watched some of that NA side. So we take a look at those 2 groups, but it actually will be an open bracket for the top 8 here in North America. And we will be taking a look at that as we get that one figured out. But how do you like what you see here in North America, Trelly?
I mean, those are definitely some squads that you'll remember if you were watching before Swiss. They had some absolute heavy hitters that you want to be watching out for. If you've been playing ranked at all, oh gosh, I didn't know they named their team Yummers, man. I was gonna shout these guys out. I'm not gonna do it anymore. Look at Kitty Party, look at those guys, because man, I've seen Tremere, I've seen Glavis, I've seen Pav, all these guys top of the leaderboards in the ranks of my 2 scene. I was gonna sing their praises, but I don't know if I can back a team called Yummers. So let's talk about Kitty Party, man. You'll recognize Jangaru, you'll definitely recognize Gamma, Dona, Doug, Delny, slightly small Andrew, I want to say. No, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it's Short Fuse, but I didn't want to leak his name. I wasn't 100% sure, so I'm pretty sure that's who it is. Definitely a lot of names you're gonna remember if you've been watching Smite 1 competitive for a while. So these guys, man, there's a lot of talent here as well that could upset some of your favorite teams. So definitely make sure you are paying attention to that as well. And if you want to roast number 5's name, that's fine too. That's definitely acceptable.
You know what? I think Yummers S tier okay, name on the tier list of names.
We can agree to disagree.
I'm sure there will be many more disagreements to come in the weeks following Swiss. It doesn't get more exciting than the future here. The road to Vegas is getting hot. The playoffs, the last chance qualifiers, open bracket group play. We got all of it here in the Smite 2 Founders Series. Can't wait to see you guys next Saturday for more action. But until then, we're out of here. See you later.